All right, what's up, people? This is the trio again. The
Yeah,
juice
what
is
happened?
loose. I don't know. T didn't say nothing. Robert's sleeping, I'm sure.
Yeah, Robert's probably fucking out. That's
Um,
real.
so it's just gonna be Terrell versus well, defending. I don't know if he'd be defending Sonic, but
No,
we're just gonna talk
absolutely not.
Did
about.
you not see his video?
This is definitely a
I
clickbait.
was so sad.
We're just gonna talk about the colors situation and then maybe get into a bigger discussion about Sonic. We've already talked about Sonic 100 times, so like what we thought to be a good path for them to take for a 3D game. We showed some dream games, in dreams, and that people made fan made games or fan games and stuff. So we're not going to probably get into all that, but I thought it'd be get some people maybe to click. And it was a perfect time to use the pun from Sonic Colors. So Sonic shows his true colors. So I thought it'd be good,
Yeah,
but
you get points for that. That was nice. That was real nice.
it was just too perfect. Let me check this image you sent.
It's fucking
Oh,
ridiculous.
jeez.
That's fucking. That is the
That's
most ridiculous shit. I said it to Richard too. That is the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life. I was
So,
like, GG's.
I gotta, we talked about, were both you here for the Metroid Dread spoiler?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta say, OJ made a good video. He talked about it.
You know what I hate?
It was
The
very
thing you do
concise. It
sometimes,
was
though?
very concise, and he made points. Like, it's just like, what was the analogy I had?
We just posted it right before the podcast. So
Basically,
the whole thing.
this trailer 2 isn't for the people who already know they like Metroid. Just like the people say the Switch OLED isn't for people who already have a Switch. It's like, but I think this is even more true. They're not trying to sell Rabarul 2 and Clocked It, T, even myself, even though I was a little bit skeptical on because of their previous game wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but they're not. Trailer 2 wasn't to sell Metroid to the people who love Metroid. It's there to sell the game and the franchise to people who don't really pay attention, don't know Metroid. Like, they don't know what the hell they're seeing. They don't know who that giant thing is they show in the trailer, like for 2 seconds. They don't know what the hell that means. It looks really cool, though, and people are getting excited. So I got to give him props for. He made we kind of went out. I was trying to avoid saying anything specific because Retro Death was here and other people don't want to know. They chose not to
A
watch the
white
trailer.
bitch, man.
But basically, that trailer's there for the people who just maybe were on the fence, who doesn't pay much attention to the franchise and just saw a 2D game. Like he said, people were saying it's not worth $60. They saw this 2D game. The Treehouse just showed like one minor boss fight and some exploration. Didn't really show off all the cool stuff. And I rewatched the trailer again today, like right before. And yeah, there's a couple little things, but again, it's like most of them are items that have been in previous Metroid games as far as the weapons and stuff. But to see that, just to reconfirm the mobility that Samus has in Dread is like, oh my god, that looks so good. I'm we'll just transition into what we've been playing because I finished. Well, I didn't finish. I beat the 6th biome in Returnal, which you get the credits. It's not finishing the game. Must be a thing for that. What's that? Roguelikes, where you beat it the first time. Well, then you have to keep playing to get the whole game. To get the whole experience. To get the full story. So now that you get the credits, that's technically starting Act 3. Well, now there's these new items, one item in each biome to get the final ending. So I got to keep playing it, but I'll say I beat it. I got the credits. I beat the hard 5th biome and the 6th biome in one go. I was on a 9-hour run, which I just ended earlier today. Finally died, and I went from not being able to survive, like not be able to get very far, to a 9-hour run, going from 5th biome, 6, beating it, and going 1, 2, 3, 4 back into the 5th one on one life. So I was doing my live stream and I kept getting distracted by the game. It's kind of like Doom Eternal or Doom 2016. It's hard to talk and play those intense games with those intense combat situations at the same time. So I never gave my cons. I talked about the pros. So just a recap, not a ton of people watched it. My favorite thing about the game is just the mobility and control. The combination of the mobility of the character and the controls being just about perfect. Definitely the highlight for me. Then the use of the haptics and the adaptive triggers is just, it's, I won't say, I almost want to say revolutionary. It's such a in evolution or enhancement or a next gen version of Rumble. It's just so well done, and it just really sold me on the whole adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback. So that was probably my second favorite thing. Third thing is just the general look of the like the Geiger, the guy who designed like the Alien and a lot of that Alien world, like really cool. Um, I don't know what you want to call that. Is it art direction? I don't know the exact term for it. Like concept art he makes, and it's very reminiscent of that. And it's just, it's really really cool. Everything's visually interesting, and then explorations like right up my alley. And so the cons would be the biggest one is that difficulty ramp up in the fifth biome. It's just a spike that really made it frustrating, and I was like really bummed and almost gave up on the game. It makes beating it so much more rewarding, but I would say for a lot of people that might be a little bit much of a spike. So that would be a negative. Shit, I thought of one earlier. It was a minor one, and I guess the way the story's told, there's a lot of time in between story, and you kind of forget that it's even that what's even happened. I guess it goes a little too long in between giving you some tidbits of the story. And I missed one really cool opportunity that wasn't. You die at one point in the, I think it's the third biome, something happens, and I was like, I don't know, I'm seeing this cutscene, but it's a lot of flashing, and then afterwards I realized what had happened, and it was really cool, but it wasn't visualized good enough. I think that was a missed opportunity, but overall, it's a must own if you have a PS5, in my opinion. It's got so many things I like about games, so I gave it a solid A. I guess without that difficulty spike, even though I did overcome it and I did get better, and I felt good about it afterwards, I would say that was a little bit of a design flaw to have that much of a jump in difficulty. So overall, though, absolutely love the game. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm at 44 hours, and I'm definitely gonna try to 100% it. So it's quality. Anyone else? Terrell, Retro, did you start or beat any games in the last week?
No More Heroes 3. That's what I started.
Oh yeah, what's that? How's that?
That it's weird because when you go back to back, because I finished playing 1 and 2 right before I started 3. 3 has its, like, I know 3 has its technical problems, but as a when you go from 2 to 3, man, that gameplay is just better. I can't even explain it. It's one of those games that I can definitely tell could have used some more time, at least on the technical side, but god damn it, I like the fact that they've changed a lot. The enemies have more variety. The biggest problem I had with No More Heroes 1 and 2 when it came to enemies is that there was only like 3 varieties. In the first game, it was just dudes and bigger dudes. In the second game, it was dudes, bigger dudes, dudes with beam katanas, and dudes with guns. And of course, the guys with guns were the worst because they could shoot you from a distance and you didn't really have a good dash to get to them. The fact that he switched it from humans to aliens, they all have different attack patterns, and you have to do different shit to get around certain enemies. It feels like it feels more like a deeper combat system. It's very fucking fun and rewarding. I think the first time I played it, I did one boss and got distracted completely just from like the side activities. He even fixed some of the fucking mini games, like the cutting grass one. Travis Now, like in the original cutting grass game, he would just go back and forth. They gave him a quick turnaround. And he does this little like princess hand wave as he's walking around with the thing. And
Really?
I'm like, you fucking jackass. Like it's genuinely a really fun game. And oh, the bike controls are so much better. You can still crash in this shit. But the best thing is that they allowed you to warp the bike to wherever you were at. Whereas, like in the original, if you left your bike, you had to go run across the town and get it. Now it warps to where when you hit the X
Yeah,
button,
that's nice.
they gave you fast travel, and this motherfucker does this cool ass. For those who've seen Akira, he does that cool ass Akira thing with the motorbike.
Of course
If
he
you,
does.
Hmm.
it's fucking
I
great.
thought they did.
Suda,
I seen a image of that years ago, or fan art or something of Travis
I
and
think
his
they,
laser sword on the
yeah, I think they've done it. I think there was promotional art of it. I think for when Strikes Again was maybe
something.
it
So
was something.
let me
But
ask you this,
go ahead.
because the GameCube I think was the last time Suda made a game where the hardware he was working on was like up to current standards. Since then he's been Wii and Switch basically for making. Maybe he had a game on 360. I can't.
He's had games on
He had a couple.
Lolli- I'm trying to think Lollipop Chainsaw. I don't
Was
know if
that
that's pseudo or not.
PS3?
Hold on.
I'm just wondering, do you feel like if he had a little, is the technical issues you think just not as talented of a team he was working with? Do you think it was the limitations of the hardware, or just the game needed more time? Because
I think the game just needed more time realistically. Because the fact that he was able to get the fights to 60 frames, and it's not a lot, but it's really close to it. I think realistically, I think his biggest struggle was probably the open world. And I think I think if he had more time, he could have locked them both down. Because I would have took third in the open world, considering the main thing you're doing is kind of traveling to different areas and then like taking side missions. And plus I've seen the Switch do better than that game.
yeah,
Do harder, do like more. Hell, the fact that Astral Chain runs as well as it does. Granted, that is 30. I think Suda could have got it to 60 if he had given himself more time. Realistically.
so
Chain runs at 30, but it plays goddamn fast, kind of like what Doom did.
Yeah, because it's locked, and you could tell they maintained it the whole way through. Whereas, like, if you're going in the open world and No More Heroes 3, you're hanging somewhere around like 25 or some shit. Like I can tell it's not locked, but it still feels fast paced. The fact that they gave me a boost in the damn main world, I think tells me he could have done it. He just needed more time, really. And I won't be surprised if this gets a PC release, realistically.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it hits anything else. Cause who did he publish it? Or did Nintendo publish it? Did somebody else? I don't know who published.
I can check real quick. I'm pretty sure.
He worked with Marvel. It wasn't. Is that his studio, or did he?
No. Grasshoppers is
Grasshopper. That's what I meant. Yeah, I was thinking something else.
No
But
more.
as long as the battles are are good, I don't think the open world needs to be 60 or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me because I thought it would be a bigger issue because it is improved from when the trailers came out. No, Marvelous published it.
That's Marvelous was the publisher. Okay.
Yeah, Marvelous.
So it could
published
go.
it.
I think it'll probably be on PS4 and PC.
The only reason why I say the only reason why I don't know if he'll put it on PS4 because he hasn't put any of the. He did the remake of 1 on the PS3, and that was the only
Oh
time.
really? I thought 1 and 2 came out on multiple systems.
It came out on PC and Switch, from what I remember.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was on PC and Switch. 1 was the only one that got remake on PS3, and people don't like that version because it has screen tearing and fucking.
Well, they messed with the visuals too, didn't they?
They messed with the visuals, but it also has bad screen tearing. I've seen footage of it.
I guess maybe he doesn't. I don't know why I thought 1 and 2 came out on other systems, but
I could check. I'm pretty sure
I
it
would.
was just,
I think. I mean, it'll do. I'm sure it'll do pretty well on the Switch. I don't think it'll do huge numbers. It'd probably do pretty close. I would think PS4 would probably come close to the sales of the Switch version. but maybe not. I guess maybe the audience ain't there.
Oh, you know what he put on PS4? He put the Travis
Oh
Strikes
yeah,
Again.
that's probably what I was thinking.
That's what's on there. I mean, No More Heroes was never like a blockbuster franchise. It just I think ironically enough, the reason why I got the notoriety it did was because it was on the Wii. It's such a very different title than what you would expect on the Wii. So I think that's kind of what helped it stand out. I would want this to do well because I think it's a generally fun game, and I'm only like it's the whole 10 ranking boss fight thing. I've only done maybe 3 bosses so far, so and he went crazy with the fucking like visual style. It's absolutely nuts. I can tell it's one of those games you can tell he really wanted to like because he already said he's not making a 4th game until like another decade or something. So
We'll see. I mean,
very
if
much it felt like a passion project.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe if he can have some success with this game, maybe he'll make something completely different. But he's always been kind of a niche, weird game, maker.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think I've ever played a Suda game. To be honest with you.
I know the main ones people always suggest is Killer 7 and the No More Hero series. I played part of Lollipop Chainsaw. That's an interesting experience. Suda's gameplay style is kind of weird. You kind of just have to start playing his games to notice it, but I still need to play Killer 7 because I know that's the one everybody's
I remember the big Capcom deal with the exclusive 5 on GameCube, which none of them stayed exclusive, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
It was it what was the other one? Piano 3 or something? There was a weird one.
Number 3,
Yeah.
PM3.
And then
Oh,
it was
okay.
Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, Piano 3. I feel like there was 1 or 2 more. It was like the big deal. And then they all came to PlayStation like a year later. But so, well, it's good to hear people are enjoying it because it looked a little dicey there the first couple times they showed it. It looked
Oh yeah, it looked
pretty
rough as
bad.
hell. Also, the
Um,
best thing is right now in the game, I got a hoodie that says "fuck racism," so
yeah.
it's gonna crack me up when I got it. I was like, all right, GG's.
So, retro anything? Any new games or did you beat anything?
I started one thing and I finished one thing, which I'm gonna count. I started a game that I wanted to play for a while, but I just didn't want to bother fucking picking it up and looking for it and all that stuff. I'm like, I'll play it one day. But Tracy from the chat, he's like, dude, I'm playing it again. I need you to play it. I'm like, dude, I can't pick this shit up right now. I got vacation coming up. I can't do this. So he sent me the game, and I started playing it, and it's Kid Icarus Uprising, and I'm fucking loving the game.
Oh, that game's
The
good.
funny thing is, I remember all the controversy when it came to Kid Icarus Uprising because of the controls. Nintendo had like the little thing that they added to it and shit to put
Yeah.
it on, but it's the most intuitive controls I've ever seen in a game. I don't understand the problem. Not only are only like 3 buttons that you literally don't need anything else, and I have the 3DS XL, I can hold that shit in my hand. But on top of that, you can choose between 3 control schemes and map all the buttons. There's literally no problem. Where the controls should be a problem for anyone in that game, I feel. Apart from that, I think it looks amazing. I was surprised at how good it looked. First of all, like I made a video a long ass time ago about like the greatest 3D effect in games because I play everything on the with the 3D like Max and shit, and it has some of the best 3D effect where Pit feels like he's flying like outside of the 3DS, and you see these long ass landscapes that graphically just look amazing. So I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I'm not very far. I did like the first 2 levels only or something, but I'm glad to finally start that. And I completed the demo for Tales of Arise last week. I've been waiting for that game since the last trailer. I never played Berseria because my old computer couldn't handle it, so I haven't played it yet. So the whole Tales of in like a 3D thing was kind of new to me. But the main thing I noticed is Tales of Arise looks fucking gorgeous. It's a beautiful ass game. It has like this perfect mix of Xenoblade Chronicles X and Breath of the Wild, and then they add like this Borderlands style shit over it. There's like this weird ass thing where Xenoblade Chronicles X, like the level design, the very far away, the hills and stuff. It has a very specific texture, I feel, and I feel they mix that with like the Borderlands cell shading, and it just looks so fucking beautiful, and it plays so smooth and so fast. Like I've been playing the demo, I've been trying the different characters because in the demo you can select between all 6 characters and stuff, and it goes really fast. It's funny, and I can't wait to buy the game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna wait till the end of the year because I'm not playing $70 for a new game. I refuse that for any system. Like it's just too much fucking money. And by the end of the year, it's probably gonna go down in price a little bit. But it's amazing looking and it plays so smooth. And I'm very excited to start like a new Tales of finally.
Is Arai only on PS5?
I know I don't have PS5. I played the demo on PS4.
Wouldn't be
It
$70
wouldn't be
on
$70.
I looked at least on the
Maybe
PlayStation Store just to look, and it was 75. No, it's not $70. It's I think it was like 70 euros. So that's like, I think it's like 60 euros. So that's like $70 approximately, something like that. We always get screwed. For you guys, it's probably $60, but they don't really convert prices here. So for me, it's 60 euros, meaning it's going to be like $70. And I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah,
like that much right now.
It's 60 here.
Is that a action what's the combat in that game?
It's an action RPG. The original Tales games, Tales is probably one of the few IPs that was always action. It's like you still do things like you see enemies on the overworld, you run to the enemies, then it takes you to like this 3D battle system, and you just fucking fight. Like it still has
like. Yeah, every move is like mapped to a specific button location. So the fighting is simple, and you do the moves and shit. You get XP, you get different moves. And the old games, it was like on a 2D plane, so you just walk kind of left and right and stuff. And then you could kind of move around if you wanted to. Now it's on a 3D plane, but like don't think it's gonna play like Bayonetta or some shit. It doesn't really work like that. It definitely keeps this. I don't want to say turn-based because it's fucking fast these days, but it's very active and dynamic.
It's probably the closest comparison I can think of is probably the way the Final Fantasy VII Remake plays, kind of. It's somewhat like that. It's probably not as much.
I played the demo of that, and that's actually very true. It's very close to that.
That's good.
It's very close to that.
That was a pretty enjoyable combat system because you had quick access to moves, and you had to build up your magic points or you didn't build them up, but you had a certain amount you could use for certain abilities, and then you build up special meters. So I'll have to check that out. I
would say if it's funny, the last game before Rise was Berseria, those don't even look like they're part of the same franchise. when you it's very much like a next gen jump for that IP. So I hope it does well, but it looks really fucking.
Yeah, it's like the demo is a free. I suggest download the demo because it's not the type of demo that carries over. Nothing carries over. They start you kind of in the middle of the game somewhere. You start at like level 25, and you can instantly like fight some enemies and look at the world. You'll know in 5 minutes if you want to play.
Got it.
Yeah, I actually got
I gotta mention Motoi Sakuraba, who did the soundtrack for all the Tales games, but also for Button Kaitos. He did the soundtrack again. But like, I almost fucking had an orgasm because the battle theme of the game, it sounds way more like Button Kaitos than it does Tales of, and it's a perfect soundtrack. It's so good. That soundtrack started, and my head is going like, holy shit! It's so good.
I think you'll be getting a present from Midnight Owl here in the next couple months, and it's going to be Tales of Arise.
Gifts go both ways.
Yeah.
So you getting hurt?
That was your.
I'm getting her.
Yeah.
It depends on. Oh, actually, no. I actually know what I'm going to get. Her.
She watches.
No, I actually know what I'm going to get. If we're talking, for example, Christmas and shit, I already have that all planned out and shit, and we're literally in the same category of price-wise, so I'm good.
Nice.
All right, GG's.
All right, so since you brought up price, I guess we got to talk about.
Oh yeah,
the Horizon Forbidden West debacle, which
should
have been a debacle before with the Ghost of Tsushima bullshit, even though that had a upgrade path whereas I think they tried to eliminate a $10 upgrade. So for those that aren't paying attention, Horizon Forbidden West got a release date, and then pre-orders went live. And PS4 version $59.99. This is US. PS5 version $69.99. To get them both, you buy the Ultimate Edition or something, and for $79.99 you get both versions. Which, why is there two versions? I don't know.
What? Yeah, what's
and
the
then
difference?
there's like more. I think there's even higher ups. There's digital versions of each, and I don't remember this, and I still haven't. I saw the thing from Jim Ryan. Apparently, he promised 2020 or 2021 a free upgrade path. They didn't promise beyond that. And I don't know if they forgot about that because they didn't do it for Ghost of Tsushima. That's probably why they came out with a director's cut version, so they could avoid that. So I don't remember that promise ever being made. But either way, it was stupid. You have the same game. Why is there a $10 difference? I could understand, and some people aren't going to like this, if Horizon Forbidden West was a PS5 exclusive, and they're like, they know they're gonna take a loss because there's 110 million PS4 owners who aren't gonna be able to buy the game, and there's only like 10 million PS5s right now. I could somehow, I would accept it. I probably wouldn't buy it at 70, but if they're like, yeah, there's not enough people who own PS5s to have that game make them enough money, even though it could continue to sell over time. But if it was just an exclusive, I'd be like, all right, that's the price for next gen. I don't have to pay it. I'll wait. But the fact that there is the PS4 version and it's a $10 difference, I almost feel like the PS4 version should be the more expensive option because they're probably porting the PS5 game to the PS4. I'm just guessing. But either way, it's stupid. I complained about it, talked about it on the podcast. So they come out and they're like, oh, we're going to honor the free upgrade for PS4 for just this game. Got pushed into 2022, but we're going to honor it. Why not just drop the PS5 price to 60? So I'm going to have to buy the PS4 box and disc at 60, put it in, and download the PS5 version for free. Why don't you just drop the price to be 60 for both games? I don't get it. I think it's stupid. I don't know, neither of you guys have PS5, so it doesn't affect you as immediately, but what do you feel?
I was looking just to see what the difference between the PS5 and PS4
they didn't
version
really say, other than
PS5
is definitely going to have 60 frames per second, higher resolution. And
I'm like, well, supposedly it's also is this a steel book? Looks like a steel book, an art book, and then you get DLC. You get a digital soundtrack and an outfit.
For how much?
That's the PS5 version. So I guess that would be the extra $10, quote unquote.
Oh, it's the PS5 version comes with more than just the PS4 version as far as content.
The only version they would have, that seems kind of strange.
Well, that looks like the special edition. But is that the special edition? Can you only get? Looks like
I haven't looked it up. I honestly haven't looked. Let me.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm scrolling now. All right, so let's say I get the PS5 version. Actually, then you're right. There is no inherent difference.
I don't think there is.
They call it a special edition, but I don't really know what what makes it special.
There's an $80 special edition. There's a $70 launch edition.
See, this is the type of shit I'm so done with.
But I like the Steelbook. I mean, that to me would be worth $10. If that was the only way to get this cool looking Steelbook, I would consider that. But the fact that just the launch edition's the exact same game, they did it with Ghost of Tsushima, and then Digital Foundry showed that it was a very minor resolution bump.
So it wasn't worth it.
And then the loading times is all you get. And then he just wanted to let people know that they're adding a $10 upgrade for God of War and Gran Turismo 7. I just don't understand. Get out of this cross-gen. Just bite the bullet. $60, no matter which version of what PS4 or PS5 for the launch edition.
Did they ever even explain why games went to $70? Because I don't feel like we ever got an explanation. It was just kind of assumed it was inflation and
there hasn't been a price
because
increase.
they could get away with it.
But there hasn't been a video game price increase since what, PS3, Xbox 360? Is that when they became 60?
Yeah, because it went because that's why the Wii games were all 50 still.
Yeah.
Because before that they were all 50, and then when they jumped up, Xbox
I don't remember too many people complaining about it that back then. That was a long time ago. At this point, at some point, the price of all games is going to go up, whether it's 70 or 65. At some point, even the next Nintendo system, there could be $69.99. I mean, that's just, to me, I just accept that as an inevitability. It bugs me that they're doing it right now with cross-gen games. That's why, if these were all exclusive PS5 games, like I said, I don't have to buy them day one. I've only bought a few PlayStation games day one in my entire life. Is like a handful or less. It was Last of Us Part 2, Gravity Rush 2. That literally might be the only PlayStation games I've ever bought full price at the launch price.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's kind of how I've always been as a consumer. But they're in a tough spot because not everybody's jumping on the price thing at the same time. Whereas when it happened from 50 to 60, everybody did it at the same time. And I think if that was just happening, where Microsoft and all third parties it just happened with this generation, then I don't think there'd be as much backlash.
Because either that or just make these games PS5 exclusive and don't do this cross-gen shit in the first place. Because the reason why it's getting brought up so much is literally because you have a PlayStation 4 version and a PS5 version that have two different prices.
Yeah,
and there's no difference realistically.
It's just a resolution. It's like, and then you have Microsoft doing smart delivery, and they have the smart delivery that Microsoft themselves hasn't actually released a game using smart delivery yet, because they added it to games that were already out, but since the Series consoles came out, Microsoft has not launched a game that utilized smart delivery. They just added it to all the games that were already out. So Flight Simulator doesn't have a Xbox One version, and the Medium, which wasn't a Microsoft game, but they had an exclusive deal, that wasn't on Xbox One either. So they've only released next-gen games. They haven't even used the smart delivery. It won't be till, maybe Psychonauts 2 finally, which technically is was a Bethesda game. Or it wasn't Bethesda. They bought the company. What was the name of that company?
Double Fine.
So technically, that's the very first game that has actually launched since the series consoles have come out that utilizes the smart delivery system from them. Third parties have been utilizing it. Forza Horizon 5 is going to use it. Halo Infinite's going to use it. So it's just weird that Microsoft was the one touting this no gamer left behind, and out of the 3 games, 2 of them left Xbox One users behind. Yeah, Sony was like, and I made a Juice Opinions like a year ago about how they reversed strategies. Sony was like, oh, next gen, generational divides, we believe in next gen, and then they backtracked, and now they're making all these games cross-gen. That's why somebody challenged me when I said that Horizon needs to be ported. I don't think Horizon was going to be a PS4 game from when the start of the development, but I feel like that was going to be a PS5 game until the shortages and chip shortages and all that, and the PS5s aren't going to be as readily available. But either way, it's just kind of a stupid situation, and we got eventually Microsoft this year will have multiple big titles that are just $60. It doesn't matter what system you have.
Yeah.
And I said this about Nintendo with the ports. You can't release $60 ports when other companies are doing remakes and like major remasters and they're charging $40. I say the same thing to Sony. You can't charge $70 for a cross-gen game on PS5 when Ubisoft, Bethesda did it with Doom. All these third parties and Microsoft are just doing free upgrades. And the price, Capcom, Resident Evil 8 was the same.
I don't think there was a need to jump the price up. I think that's something they arbitrarily were like, well, new generation, we can kind of justify it now. But the problem, and what frustrates me more about it, is that these consoles still aren't like readily available. Like, so on top of still having to kind of like find the bitch and get it, you charge me more for the essentially the same game.
Yeah, that's
minus
stupid.
the visual upgrade and I guess shorter loading time. And I'm like, but why? And especially when every other company realistically isn't doing it, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I get your? I could just buy your PlayStation 4 version and get the almost the same game.
This is a weird anyway. Like, I've seriously been like hunting One Piece Pirate Warriors. I think the games, the franchise is called.
Yeah.
Because I want the Warriors games, and I never really watched One Piece, but I want those fucking games. And then 3, and it was always at like 40 on Switch. And I was like, man, I ain't picking that up for 40. And then One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 comes out, and that's 40. But then 3 doesn't go down in price. So they're both 40 on the Switch. Mind you, that's $50 in America. But then I look at the PlayStation, they have 4 as well for $30.
Well,
but like Nintendo has both games at the same price. Yeah, but I mean, like, they don't even put 3 down because a new one comes out, but the new one I can get it for less on PlayStation. Like, this whole price thing is just so stupid.
Well, I was just going to bring that up too, because I was talking about third parties. Even smaller games, even indie games. Hades just came out. It's $5 cheaper physically on PS5 than it is on Switch.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't played it yet. I've installed it. I don't know what the PS5, what it actually, if it takes advantage of the PS5 at all. I haven't looked into it whatsoever. I don't know if it runs in 4K or if it's still, I don't know. But that's cheaper because discs are cheaper than cartridges. So on one hand, that's an example to say, if these companies, these third parties, these indie studios can charge less for a PS5 version compared to the Switch version, then that makes Sony look even worse. But at the same time, it also
it burns Nintendo in.
It also makes some people a little bit hypocritical who've defended the Switch tax. I'm not saying anybody here. None of us did. We always called out the Switch tax as being bullshit. Because I did see somebody trying to justify N64 games being expensive and the Switch tax. Well, cartridges cost money. That's justification. No, it isn't. That's still $10 more for the same version of the game on a different system. Well, I don't give a shit if that's because the memory and the cartridge cost more versus a disc. It's still more.
Even if we're going with the Hades comparison, for example, the Switch tax, usually the argument was based around like the size of a game.
Yeah.
Hades, from what I understand, is not a big game to where you would need a larger cartridge to even justify having a tax on the game.
Well, we don't even know what the cost has changed with all the pandemic and shortages, what the cost of cartridges. They might have actually gone up since the launch of the Switch. We don't know. But at the same time,
we're consumers. We're not required to know.
No. But I've seen defendos defending the price. Well, these cartridges, cost more than discs. And I guess just looking at it objectively, yes, that is a justification that this cartridge costs more than a disc, more so than we set this PS5 version to run at a higher resolution. There's really, I'm guessing, not much different development process for them making the game. I'm guessing, totally guessing, that they're like, all right, well, we'll put it on PS5. Let's make sure it loads correctly. Utilize the UI of the PS5. Let's toggle the resolution a little higher. Let's toggle 60. Like, it can't take that much effort for them to make sure the PS5 version runs well. Obviously, there's going to have separate issues versus base PS4, PS5. They're going to have different testing. Some things might be an issue on one system, not the other. But is that justification? That's not our fault that they decided to put it on both systems. So for me, it's not as much about just a $70 game as it is about $10 difference for really no real reason.
That's
Just
why I
like,
said at this point it would have made better sense just to make the thing exclusive. The reason why they won't do that though, is for one, Sony historically doesn't normally just ditch their previous platform as soon as a new one's out. Like I said, the PS3 lasted like years while the PS4 was out. But the other reason is you still can't easily buy PS5, so it would make no sense to drop this new game that could easily get into like the tens of millions in sales potentially, and then put it on a console that literally most people can't own. Like, so
Then is
I
that because they made the PlayStation 5 release way before they wanted to, that the course of the games weren't really finished yet, so it just overlapped.
I think Xbox made them put that thing out, and
Oh
realistically,
yeah,
Sony could have waited another year and been fine. Xbox couldn't, but Sony
no.
definitely could have waited another year.
And we went through this.
sure.
I disagreed with the people saying the PS5 felt rushed. Maybe some of the UI elements, like they're still beta testing the expandable storage, and they're already doing a slight tweak to the messaging, how you get to messages, which I'll be interested to see because it is an extra step or two to get to the messages on the PS5 versus PS4. But it does feel like a pretty competently made the UI. I mean, Returnal, I can't imagine that was ever a PS4 game. And that had been in development for quite a while. So I have a feeling that they hit their target release, but at the same time, the PS4 was doing so well. It would have made sense for them to push it another year. You know, it would have made complete sense. They could have done what Nintendo does and just sat on things that were done. But either way, let's getting back to the main point. You know, if, like I said, if everybody was just like, all right, $70, that's going to be the price going forward, because you know the cost of development is going up, the cost of making games and promoting games is going up. I don't blame them. At some point, you hit a line where like we have to raise the price. Look at a freaking 20-ounce Coke. I literally pay at the pump at a gas station. I haven't been in a gas station probably for 5 years, maybe more. And I had $1.20 or something to change. I was like, you know what? Let me just stop it. Let me go in and grab something to drink. Used to be able to get Powerades for 99 cents. Waters were like 40, 50 cents. A 20-ounce pop was like $2. Powerades were like $2.40, $2.20. And I'm like, holy shit, like what happened? When did this shit go up? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not like irate that the price of things is going to go up and games eventually are all going to be 70. That's going to be the new normal. I just don't like how that's been implemented here with these cross-gen games, and it seems stupid. Just the easy answer to avoid all this is just they're both 60. You know, they're just 60 until you get to the exclusive games. If you want to try to sell 70, I'm gonna put my pony hat on though. I gotta give Sony credit, and I gotta make it a bit of a justification. They're still willing to do these big, high budget, single player, no microtransaction games, and they're continuing to do that. They just last year they put out 2 like absolutely stellar, massive single player adventures. And even though Ghost of Tsushima, they added a co-op mode, which seems to be pretty cool. You know, it's a big single player game, big budget, and they're continuing to do that. Returnal single player game, Ratchet and Clank single player game. So they're still putting out and investing in these games. It's not like they're charging 70 and then doing these shitty practices of microtransactions and all this other bullshit. You know, so a part of me just says, okay, as long as you're still doing that, you get a pass where I might not buy the game at 70, but I'm not like going to be protesting it and getting super mad and making a ton of videos about it at this point. So I give them a little bit of some leeway on that. I just don't for the cross-gen games. I just can't. It just is stupid. It just causes. Look how much trouble. Look how much controversy and confusion it's caused. You know, you turn on your PS5 and the PS4 version's not there. Like told Robert, well, why would the PS4 version be there? Then you turn on your PS5, you're thinking you're getting the PS5 version, and you end up accidentally buying the PS4 version. It's like,
Right.
so I can understand why they wouldn't put it on the PS5's eShop. But
I guess my concern is this, because a lot of people have been getting Sony credit for release when they say or do something stupid, they try to create like some sort of like they backpedal somewhat easily on it, and as the consumer we end up getting what we want. At a certain point, when is it a problem that has to happen in the first place? Like when does it become a problem that that Sony's consistently making these annoying fucking decisions that they have to backpedal on? Like if you just did the right thing from the get-go and just made the shit 60, this wouldn't even been an issue in the first place. And at a certain point, it's like, well, you can't just keep doing this like this, because this is worse. Like because now I gotta yell at you in order for you to change something. It's like the child who, for some reason, keeps thinking kicking it towards the wall with his ball is a smart idea. Cracks a window. Oh, okay, I'll kick over here and breaks another window. Well, what the fuck? You didn't learn anything. You're just doing the same thing, somewhat differently. I don't know.
I honestly, I hope people don't just lay down and accept this. Well, we'll give you the PS4 upgrade to PS5 if you buy the PS4 version. I hope more people still speak up about it, and no one pre-orders the PS5 version, and everybody just pre-orders gets the PS4 version and does the free upgrade. That's what I hope, because I want them to learn this lesson again, and be like, you know what, we can't do this for God of War. We can't. You know, it's not going to work. People aren't going to. They're not going to buy this PS5 version if we do this. And you know, when the whole PS3 store and stuff happened, I could have gave two shits about that. You know, they reversed it, but I think people overreacted to that personally, especially the Vita one. You know, they're old systems. You know, I think that was a situation where if they had just done it, like in a year from now, no one would have. Some people might have said something, but the fact they announced they were doing it, people are like, oh, they're taking that away, something they probably haven't used in 5 years, and they got out their pitchforks and got with the mob and got all. I think that was blown way out of proportion. I don't think anybody really cared.
The only legitimate part of that complaint to me was the fact that there were versions of games that had never been re-released any other way. The only way you could get some of those games was through that store. So being like, oh, by the way, we're getting rid of like the store that houses like hundreds of games that only exist in this store.
Yeah, but how many people are buying Vita games on the eShop? And if you haven't bought it by now they're telling you won't be able to buy it. Now you're getting mad. If you haven't cared to buy it when it came out years ago, now you care that you're not going to be able to buy it. Like, to me, that's a little bit of what Leveled Head used to call fake outrage. But
that and the problem was the fact that they gave you even less. Like when Nintendo said they were closing, I forget which store.
Well, the Miiverse we didn't get a whole lot of time.
Not the Miiverse. It was the Wii. Well, no, it was the Wii.
The Wi-Fi was shut down.
Network, and I think the Wii shop where you couldn't like buy anything anymore. Like they gave you at least a year. Sony was giving you like 6 to 8 months, and we were like, well, this kind of came out of fucking nowhere. At least the Wii we were already pretty far removed from it. Like people still.
I feel like the Wii was. I don't remember being a big notice. I didn't care because at that point no one was using their Wii.
Most people didn't care, but
it's like that's the other thing. Sony knows how many people are on their PlayStation 3. Like they have unless they're playing it offline. Why do they need a store then if they're not playing it online? They know how many people are using that stuff, and they would have taken movies off the PS4's PlayStation Store to buy and rent, if people were fucking buying and renting movies on the PlayStation Store. They wouldn't have done it. That's just literally stopping a money flow. I know
My
that's a
question
separate
is-
argument, but I know Red Knight, who's just anytime somebody does anything, he was like, oh, they're pulling all these movies off their PlayStation Store. You got Voodoo, you got what's the other major one? There's two places you can really like iTunes. You got Voodoo, iTunes.
Yeah.
Those are the places people rent movies. No one was renting and buying movies on the PlayStation Store. So them getting rid of that, there wasn't a big outcry except for Red Knight, the only person I heard even mention it.
No, no one really cared about
That's
it.
a negative. Well, why? Because they took it away. That they know that nobody's using it. They wouldn't have stopped it if it was a moneymaker. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is, that's just stupid stuff there. And
I mean, and just to go on that point though, but since Sony would know, I almost wonder why the hell they backpedal so hard on the store closing in the first place. You could have easily just said, "Here's some more time," and then still closed it.
yeah,
right?
because of the outcry. They probably were I was surprised people were mad. To be honest, maybe they were.
I understood that. I just didn't understand why they backpedal all the way back. I'm like, look, if you realistically think it's not making you enough money and it doesn't justify doing it, then cool.
Why?
But, like,
Yeah, they could have published. Well, this is how many people purchase games on the Vita eShop in the last year, and if it was like a super low number, I think that would have been a good counter. But instead, they just said, "Well, we're keeping the PS3 one up. We'll keep you guys happy," and it's one of those decisions that, to me, I honestly, I think that was way less offensive than Xbox Live Gold doubling the price for no reason.
That was just stupid.
I
That
still
was
feel like that.
brutal.
I still feel like that was a PR stunt.
You would argue that Sony's weird like backpedaling, it can be a stunt in itself. For example, using the store one as an example, if you tell everyone it's closing, people are in a rush to go ahead and get the games they never fucking bought on the thing.
Yeah.
Then they get an influx of sales and be, oh, all right, never mind, we'll change it.
Could
now
be.
they look like the good guy, and they just got a bunch of panic sales.
Could be.
So
I doubt that'd be pretty clever if they actually thought of that. But Nintendo, they removed shit from the Wii U eShop, but didn't even say anything. They either pulled the game or they raised the price up from 20 back up to 60 because the Switch version was coming out at 60.
Yeah, like a DK shit.
That was some shady ass shit because you had a $20
Yeah, that was bad.
the DK
player's
situation was
choice,
stupid.
whatever they were called on the Wii U, and
Nintendo Select.
Nintendo Selects, and then you have the Switch version come out at 60, and then they raise the price or remove the game. It's all shady, and it's like businesses are trying to find ways to make money. And trust me, I work for a company owned by a huge corporation, and they do stupid decisions all the time. It's like, why? We already went down this path. Why do you do it? And it's just
Nintendo always thought was different because Nintendo actively would lose money for no good reason. They would literally just leave money on the table and go, nah, we don't do that. Like the whole Metroid thing, where it was like Dread's coming out, you could put the rest of the games on Switch. Nah.
No.
You're just like,
and
everybody's sitting there who isn't even a business major is just like, but why? Like, why not? Like, it
can't take much to get it. They let's see, you got Super NES. The NES and Super NES are already on there, so you need Which ones do they need? Fusion, which are already on the Wii U eShop, so that should be a simple little port.
Right? Zero Mission?
Zero Mission was on the Wii U eShop as well, so the only one that would have been challenged would be Samus Returns, the 3DS game. That's the only 2D Metro game that would have been a challenge.
I would have, because I literally booted up my 3DS, because I wouldn't play. I know my Wii U was hooked up and shit. I just didn't want to play Fusion is the fourth one, right? I didn't want to play Fusion on there because it's on that eShop. I was like, you know what? I'm fucking taking my 3DS. It's always on my nightstand. I play that regularly. I'm like, I'm fucking buying Fusion on the 3DS, and it wasn't on there. It made me so salty. In my head, I'm like, man, just throw this fucking game back on here. It's not up for here in Europe, at least. Fusion wasn't on the 3DS eShop.
Or was that an ambassador? That might have been an ambassador game.
Actually, no.
Yeah, that was an ambassador game on the 3DS.
Was it?
That's how I have it.
That's another thing that's fucking weird. Those ambassador games, they made sense, obviously, at the time. But why not make those available later?
That's because I never bought a eShop game on 3DS, and I have Fusion. So either way, it's
Such a weird thing.
It's stupid to have this $10 price difference. It was stupid that their answer was to give a free upgrade for the PS5 version from the PS4 version. So do I really need that PS5 banner on the top of my box? You know, like for $10, do I really need that? So I was gonna wait. I might just buy the PS4 version day one, do the free upgrade just to like say, hey, you know, this, and hopefully more people do that. I'd be shocked if many people even buy the PS5 version for $10 more when you get the upgrade for free. And one last thing, I did mention it. This is gonna probably anger a few people. But back in 1998, I was paying $70 for games on the N64. So I would feel a little bit silly just being mad about it in general, if that's just for about the price of games in general went up to 70. Like I said, I still am bothered by the $10 difference, but I paid $70 for NFL Quarterback Club 98, you know, back in 97 or whenever that came out. It's like, yeah, cartridges would cost money, but let's not forget that there was plenty of $70, $80 cartridge-based games back in the day, and if you had inflation, that's like $120 now. Like, gaming was expensive. Yeah, cartridges were the most of the reason, but still, if 20 years ago you paid 70, I can't get that upset about the idea of paying 70 now. So that's just I guess that's probably gonna anger a few people, but that's how I feel about it. I mean, yeah, I'd rather games not go up, but at the same time, I understand everything else has gone up. The cost of everything has gone up. So why not the cost of games at some point? I mean, movies, movie theaters.
My things would be simple. I'm just a cheap bastard. I just don't want to spend.
Yeah, well,
I told you guys I'm waiting for Tales of Arise to the end of the year.
Yeah.
When I was old enough to drive and we'd go to the movies, we paid $6.50 for the matinee was $4.50, and it was $6.50 for the evening shows for a movie. So that was 25 years ago. And then I remember when it went up to $8.50 and the matinee was $6.50, you know, and it's, what is it now? Like $15, $16 to go see a movie? Like, I don't know, man. I think I get it. There's if things can be cheaper, I'll be all for it. But price of shit goes up, and it's almost to the point now where I can't believe it's been this long. Sony's tried to start the trend. Maybe it doesn't take off. Maybe they're the only ones for many years, and eventually maybe they'll have to stop. But yeah, Quarterback Club was trash, by the way. Be wild. I paid $70 and game's absolute dog shit. So Perfect Dark, it was what, 50, and the RAM expansion was 30. I know it was almost $100 after tax, and you know, that's just how the shit was. But all right, let's talk about Sonic Colors. I seen somebody trying to say people are blowing it out of proportion, but I watched some videos and it does look pretty unacceptable on Switch. I don't know about the other versions.
So this story got way more complicated than it had any need to be. So this is what Sonic Colors Ultimate decided to do. The game actually came out officially today, but they did an early release version that you could pre-order. That was like $5 more, and you got it 3rd, I believe, which is when all the footage came out. So initially people were seeing the footage and they were seeing people clip through fucking levels, the colors getting washed out, seizure inducing. Found out that at least for the colors based ones, that was a dude who took the game and put it on Yuzu, the emulator, and they and like the glitches they were getting was off the emulator. So technically some of it was overblown because that wasn't actually the game running on console. Now, that doesn't change that there were glitches on the console. Don't get it twisted by any means. But some of it was overblown. Now, the game's out today, and I don't even think there's been a day one patch. I think Sega has recently tweeted or said something along the lines of like,
Yeah, they're
letting
looking
them know.
into it. I
And
saw
you're
that.
just like, the problem. And here's my thing: they're not the ones who ported these games. That's my first issue. I'm like, bruh, like, considering Sonic's really, it's as much as I enjoy Sonic games, Sonic has a very, very inconsistent track record. So the one thing you could have done is port one of what most people would consider one of Sonic's first good games back in 2010 or 9, I forget which. And you couldn't. And here's the other kicker: this game isn't fucking long. This is like a 4 to 5 hour game, and you couldn't just simply just and so when I looked up the porting studio, it's I
Some
forget
new
the name
studio, wasn't it?
it's like it's from 2016. The only other games they've done is the BioShock collection, the Mass Effect collection. They've only done a couple other games.
Well, let's get something clear right now. Like, I saw a post where people were like, this is actually running on Switch hardware. Like, this is actual Switch hardware. How much of that glitches, what kind of glitches are actually happening on Switch hardware?
The ones that were happening on Switch hardware where there are levels where you grind rails, you would land on the rail and get flung backwards and die because you would fall into a bottomless pit. Also ones where you would be, since the game switches from 2D and 3D, sometimes the game would glitch and motherfuckers would just be sent flying. Like, where the fuck is Sonic at? Ah! And you just hear his death noise go off. like some of this shit, some of it just got absolutely ridiculous. And then on top of that, Switch owners were already pissed because their version is the only version that runs at 30.
Yeah,
Every other, and that just made me mad because I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Like, it's a Wii game. You
in
can't tell
Nintendo
me
Life, we're like talking about it. It's a very simple, more of a simple port than a remaster. I don't know if that's correct.
Exactly.
I mean, it
So
looks
I'm
like some things were different, but overall, I would say it looked minor. It's not like
it's the exact same game with some visual changes here and there, some changes in lighting, and a couple extra things added, like tails and like a little racing mode with Metal Sonic. And for some
you gotta admire them that they took one of the rare Sonic games that most people actually liked
all the way
and they
through,
actually
mind you.
Fucked it up, you know?
Yeah, people need to understand something. Colors came out after Unleashed. Unleashed was what people considered the beginning of kind of like the turnaround. But the problem with Unleashed is half the game was like God of War, old school God of War with the werehog, and people were like, that's not a Sonic game. Fuck you. Colors was the first game in a while that was just all the way speed and platforming, and you couldn't not fuck it up. And they still managed to take that fucking game and ruin it, and it makes me so pissed.
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'm always shitting on the Switch, but it can't take a Wii game and bump up the resolution and run it at 60. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's the studio. I 100% believe that's the studio fucking up. The game already is glitched to hell, and it is glitched on PlayStation and Xbox, but Nintendo version seems to have the worst glitches. And I'm just like, what? It's a Wii game. Like, I don't understand what you could have done to fuck this up. It looks like it's using the same physics as the original game. So it's not like you had to redo the bitch from scratch.
It's just, I mean, it's just running the same game with just change the resolution, some lighting, and some different textures. You tell me the Switch... let's see. I don't know what he's talking about. Why can't it run at 60? I just don't... It makes no sense. What does it run at on Switch resolution-wise, I wonder? Is it 1080? Is it 720? Like, anybody... I haven't seen any... There's one channel that just does, like, a frame rate analysis for Switch games.
Yeah.
And they're not Digital Foundry.
Let me see.
But, I gotta say, because I've heard about this game for years. Oh, that was the first really good 3D Sonic game. You know, what was I gonna look up? Oh, the frame rate or resolution.
Yeah.
All I heard was, "Oh, this is the first great, you know, this is my favorite Sonic game. and for years. And so I was like, all right, I've never played it. I didn't pay much attention to Sonic back then. I was like, all right, before the glitches and everything, I'll look up some. I looked up Sonic Colors Ultimate PS5. It's like, all right, I'll watch. Somebody has the first hour, no talking, just gameplay. It might have been a half hour, either or. I watched the first 3 minutes, and I know it's the beginning of the game. It constantly stops you, pauses it to tell you what buttons do what. I get that. So I fast forward about 2 minutes. I'm like, because that was getting really annoying. And I'm watching, and I see auto targeting, and he's running forward. Then it switches to side scroll, and it switches to zooms out. You can't. He's doing a loop de loop. Goes back in. You can go middle lane, left lane, right lane on a path, and then like jumping and auto targeting. I'm like, this is the same. Like, this is what people have been praising. Like, this is the same shit I've been complaining about since the beginning of 3D Sonic games. I just don't see anything here. And it just reiterated why I think Insomniac should make the next Sonic game, because they're the same type of game as the Ratchet and Clank, where there's so much taken out of the player's hands. I just don't understand why this is.
That is the complaint that people have with modern Sonic.
So I was expecting secretly, I never told a soul this, when they announced this Ultimate Edition, and I didn't know it was going to be glitchy, but I'm like, I truly believe in the deep of my heart, I don't care what anybody tells me, that people thought Sonic Colors was good and praised it because it was good for a Wii game, for what they expected for an exclusive Wii game to be. I still believe that. I don't think anybody will probably admit that. And I expected, when this Ultimate version came out, I didn't expect the bugs and glitches, for people to realize that, wait, this really isn't anything special, and it was, it didn't age well. That's what I was expecting. But the talk of the issues has taken over, and I don't know what people actually think of the game 10 years later.
Sonic Colors does have simplistic platforming, but it also does have good platforming levels. So, like, I don't want to sell Sonic Colors short. The biggest problem I think people have with Sonic Colors is that it was just too 2D focused. Like, it's like 75-25. That was like the biggest issue. But in terms of like actual level design, I thought it was.
I didn't see much. The 5 minutes I watched was a tutorial, and then it was mostly
the beginning
a 3D.
stages. The beginning stages are relatively straightforward, but it does have pretty good level design. But it does have that simplistic shit that you don't like in it too. Like, it's a mixture of both. I guess my whole problem with this whole thing is that I'm like, Sega. My biggest thing with Sega up until, I want to say, around probably Generations and Lost World, is that they were pumping out Sonic games like every fucking year, and you could tell the quality was getting progressively worse and worse, to the point where people were just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So my biggest thing going off of this was like, if you start taking breaks in between Sonic, one, people don't get burned out on the IP, and two, you can have more time to make better games. Yep. You know what the gap is between this game and Forces, which was the last game? It's been 4 fucking years. It's been 4 years, and you couldn't get a decent port out. That's all you had to do. A decent port and upscale the bitch. And then of course we got the fucking teaser. I want to say that was earlier this year, of the new Sonic game that comes out next year. And people are just like, bruh, if you couldn't even fund a decent port, man, that really, and granted, I understand it's not the same studio, but bruh, I'm not looking forward.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here.
Care of, Sergeant Houston.
Thank you. That was fast.
Wait for this ad to end. A, because I want to actually try to find one of the 2D levels so I can actually judge it a little more fairly. But B, all right, go off the screen. There we go. And this is gonna be low res for everybody. This is actually running at 60 frames per second. So I haven't watched this. I don't know. This is
the intro.
Let me skip ahead.
Yeah, this is the intro. It's not a long game, by the way. Yeah, this is the first level.
So I didn't check. Yeah, this is actually running on the Dolphin emulator at 60 FPS.
Yeah, I don't think the original game ran at 60.
No, I'm just judging how it looks compared to what I've seen of Ultimate.
It doesn't look that different at
No, it
all.
looks, I mean, pretty close. So this is what, modders and fans can do on an emulator. See, I didn't see this, 2D sections I actually don't mind. So if that's, I was judging it off of that
Yeah,
first stage that's like a
I
3D
think they
stage.
finally, I think they finally, because the biggest problem is that modern 2D and classic 2D are two different types, and I think they finally got confident and got decent at doing modern Sonic 2D.
There's something like this in Lost World too.
Yeah. You know why? Because the Wisps, the little aliens that give him all the powers and shit, they originate from this game. This was the game that introduced them. So like the cool thing I like is that there's like
But here, I
5 or
mean,
6
again, sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. Here's your
Well,
3
yeah.
rails, and I've seen a lot of auto like that stuff. Why zoom out and show a loop-de-loop if you can't do anything? And then this right here, this is why I was talking about that auto targeting. Like, why is this what 3D Sonic has to be? Why can't it just be a fucking open area where you can run around? That I just will never understand why they chose rail
Sonic,
grinding and auto, moving forward stuff.
Sonic's whole premise was like the thing with modern Sonic is that it's all about spectacle. Like there are certain levels in this game that are automated like that. And part of it's just because they think they want to just show off the just what he's doing.
But you're not doing anything half the time. That's what I don't get.
Look, that's a fair critique. Like there's a lot of modern Sonic fans who are like, they don't like that shit in their game. I think the coolest thing about this game, though, I'll give you this much, is that the aliens you get from this game, you can then double back into old levels and do different pathways like that. That's a secret pathway. Actually, I didn't remember taking this path in the original game because I didn't know this bitch was here.
But what are you actually doing in these 10 seconds that it's been on? So you just jump, you press whatever, B, as soon as it highlights. Now you're not doing anything. Now what are you doing? Yeah, I guess you can choose to pass. And now it's like a racing game. Like, it's just, I just don't understand.
I mean, to be fair, that is kind of the appeal of Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic is pretty much a racing platformer.
That was a cool transition to 2D. I'll give them that, even though it's not actually, I mean, a 2D.
Like the appeal of Sonic games is like compared to Mario games, they're way shorter, but that's kind of the point. The appeal of Sonic is like to see how fast you can blaze through a level without losing your speed and doing all this like cool shit. That's the idea. But like, if you don't like that concept of Sonic, then like it's not gonna appeal to you regardless.
It's a cinematic experience, especially on the Switch at 30 frames per second.
Oh,
20. That's probably under 30. I bet it drops.
Oh no, I need to go back and look, but it probably does. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I still stand by Sonic Lost World, the best 3D
I like
Sonic.
that Sonic games have that.
I love Sonic Lost World, and then obviously you have collectible. I like Sonic Lost World a lot. It's just the problem is Sonic Lost World. You're in the credits. But yeah.
I couldn't see the chat this whole time. That's why I figured I better end it. Let's see what people are saying.
Let's see. Run out.
I'm just like, I this kind of turned into me just trying to understand why they think this is where 3D Sonic has to be. Like, how many other franchises have evolved and completely changed even genres and been successful? I don't know. And it seems like every time we talk about Sonic, I bring this up. But I don't know why they can't try something completely different for Sonic. Like,
you say that, but actually, to me, that's Sonic's biggest problem. Sonic never sticks with a gameplay style.
Well, yeah, because they haven't found. I mean, in my opinion, they haven't found one that truly sets it apart. Like, do you really need rail grinding? Do you really need rail grinding in your Sonic game?
Rail grinding and see the thing in the rail grinding in the earlier games was more manual. You actually had to control Sonic, and it was momentum based.
Was it in 2D?
No, it was in 3D. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 had rail grinding that was based on whether you crouched down to increase speed. You had to manually jump on the rail. It wasn't just like you auto locked and you just fucking went. Like rail grinding used to have more like input from the player. I guess that's the best way to describe it. They turned it automated because it became like, oh, look how cool it is for him to do all these ridiculous loops and shit. And the more complicated the loops got, they were like, well, we don't want the player to be controlling all that shit.
I just found a cool looking section when I kept it.
Oh, that's
He was like,
not
there was doing like a ground pound to change platforms up and down. Like that was
Aquarium Park.
Where did it go? I was like that. Like if the whole game was that, I would be on board. Like, and I know they don't have to just try to sell it to me. You know, they got the fans, longtime fans and stuff. If they had a successful formula, then I'd be like, well, it's stupid they keep changing it up. But I don't think they found truly what a formula like 3D Mario found. Like, all right, you got to find stars. You go to these different levels, and there's an objective for one star or for a moon now, and then that same world has other objectives. Like that works for a 3D platformer. You know,
I think the problem is that it's kind of based off what Terrell said. The fact that they're releasing so many Sonic games in the past, you know, so often, like several a year sometimes, that they feel the need to like, oh, we can't just do the exact same thing. So then they just try to find all this weird shit to differentiate the game from each other instead of building what they do best.
I'll give you a super quick rundown of when Sonic first became 3D, and the first game we got was Sonic Adventure, right? Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 basically have the same control scheme. There's a little bit of a difference, but nothing too crazy. This section
right here, this actually looks like a fun platforming gimmick and mechanic.
I think Sonic Colors has good 2D sections, and the cube width means you can make certain things platform.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, it looks like it's maybe one level. I'm sure there's another one, but you could base a whole 2D platformer around. You can make it just entirely a 2D game and use a mechanic like that, or maybe obviously change it up. Don't be the same the whole game, and like you could make a game like without. Again, this is me without the rail grinding, without the other stuff, and use clever mechanics like this, like that. I see why people like the game based on a level like this. That alone makes me like, all right, that looks like that'd be fun to play. Challenging, and then you get a red star out of that, or whatever they call them.
Yeah, red rings. They're just called red
super
rings.
Short levels, super short games, but like that to me right there was an example of good level design.
Yeah, like I think Colors has good level design, which is why I was frustrated that a game, because remember, it was up until this release, Colors had only been on the Wii. So for a decade, if you wanted to play Colors, you could only play that bitch on the Wii. It's one of the few Sonic games that was locked to a console, other than maybe like the storybook games, which you don't talk about because those have a bunch of other fucking problems. But like, it made me mad that you took a game that is universally liked by the fandom and said, you know what, we're gonna give it a half-ass port, or give it to a team that literally has only been making nothing but
and
ports.
Release it in a state whether it's not as bad as it was first thought to be. It still got issues. It still has issues. It shouldn't.
I'm mad they gave it an early release.
Who's this
Why
guy?
the fuck did you give it an early release? Hey,
T want to jump and talk about Sonic?
Getting surprised teabagged over here.
Hi guys, how the F is everybody?
Did you hear Retro say we're getting teabagged?
I completely forgot about the goddamn podcast tonight.
Sorry, we're just talking.
My brain is fried these days, guys.
I'm just talking about why Sonic can't be good. So.
God damn, did I make it in time for the Sonic hate?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh shit. I just had something delivered I didn't think was coming till tomorrow. I forgot today was Tuesday.
Bro.
Yeah, T, if anybody wants to catch T up, I gotta go. I got a package dropped off. I'm gonna go grab it. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, what's going on? What we talking about?
We're kind of just going over the Sonic situation, the color situation, the fact that the game. So it's weird because the game essentially had an early release. If you pre-ordered the game and got the special edition, you could play the game like 3 or 4 days earlier. Yeah, like 3 or 4 days earlier. So like people on the 3rd could already play the game. The game officially came out today, though, ironically enough.
Right.
And there were all the glitches got posted. found out some of the glitches, especially the colors-based ones, where like the visuals are all fucked up.
Well,
That was from a
emulator, right?
yeah,
I remember
a
seeing
dude
that. Yeah.
a dude using an emulator, which kind of fucked everybody up. Goes, so does the game have glitches? Well, no, it still has glitches.
Oh, it still has.
It's
Maybe
just
they're
not
not as bad as that, but it's just
It's
still
yeah,
there.
yeah. The color-based ones are not like legit glitches, but you
Yeah.
falling through stages and getting thrown off in the middle of a level, and you just falling through the floor and shit.
Yeah.
I do want to mention. Ayers said Sonic was a 2D platformer defined itself by not being Mario, and I get that. Back in the day, you didn't want to just be a Mario clone, but I think it's been enough time where you could kind of maybe. You don't need to have that be your defining thing anymore. Like, we're the anti-Mario. Like, no, I think that doesn't need to still be their motivation if it is.
I can't imagine it still being their
I
motivation.
don't think.
You know why? Because fucking Lost World is literally a Mario clone. like in
They
terms
used the
of
Galaxy
levels,
engine, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't think they use the Galaxy engine.
I thought
but
they did.
it very much follows a traditional Mario game. Like, even in terms of level motif. Like, it's fucking grass, desert, lava towards the end of the game. Like, it very much stuck to a Mario formula. That's why people just called it Sonic's Lost Galaxy, because that's what it felt like. It felt like you were copying the Mario formula. My issue with Sonic is that Sonic just doesn't fucking stick with a fucking gameplay style. That's like my biggest issue.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem with the series. It needs to find a thing, stick with it, and build off of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get to.
You might want to skip ahead just
every game is like all over the place.
There you go.
Just like
like
consistency, bruh.
You gotta remember, like, I was gonna walk Juice through it. Like, if you think about back in 2000, 2001,
game still looks really good.
Oh no, this runs at 60. This shit is great. Fucking love this game.
I stand this game, man.
It has its problems, but damn it,
it's got issues, but
I fuck with it. Like, when you think about Sonic when it first became 3D, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, pretty straightforward. Heroes introduced that 3-man team gimmick. Then you got fucking Shadow, which introduced guns. 06.
That was weird.
That was a weird time period. Then you had 06 that was trying
to go back. Dream.
Well, the problem is that one's trying to go back to the adventure style, but with really bad controls. That whole game is fucked. That's another buggy fucking mess. And then 2007, you started getting the storybook games on Wii, which do not play like Sonic games at all.
No.
They're like on rails the whole fucking time, and you had to tilt the Wiimote forward and back, sideways, mind you, to get him to run. It was so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then in 2008, we got Unleashed, where half the game is Sonic, and the other half is God of War with the Sonic Werehog skin. And then you rounded off that decade with Colors. So Sonic never made up his mind. That was like the worst fucking thing.
And I'm like,
yep.
I know people are like, Retro doesn't like this game. This is one game where the auto targeting actually works, because you're not just flying forward where you can't stop. Like, you're actually moving forward. You can stop on almost any point in this game and like go around the cylinder. So I feel like the auto targeting auto attack was better utilized in this. I mean, this person's trying to keep momentum, but you can you just stop. You can take your time. I really felt like they had something here. We had the different paths, or just, this is the tough path. You go to the other side of the cylinder and it's a bit easier, but there's less rings or something, like, and there's no, you miss that red star. I keep wanting to call it coins. Like, take away some of the really terrible boss fights and just the randomness of you die and you have no idea, like you fell off and you're like, oh, I'm dead. Like, I didn't know that, like some of the quirks out of it, and you could have built upon this.
Yep.
And I think it could have been.
But you know what the problem was? They got scared. You know why they got scared? Because you came out with Colors and Generations, which both stuck to the boost formula. Those did well. This game completely flipped out the way the game controlled, and they were like, "Fuck, it didn't do well."
Well, the story wasn't great. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but like, fuck, the game didn't do well. We need to go back to the boost formula, and then we got Forces, which, as hell, Rock will tell you, is a.
It's like, why do companies always get come to the wrong conclusion based on how their games? Like it's like that wasn't the problem. The problem was all these other things that we're talking about, like the kind of jank that was in the game that didn't help because a lot of people really liked what they were trying to do with this. Sonic Lost World. It's kind of like, if I may give an analogy, it's kind of like what is it? Star Fox Assault. Right, it has that feel of it to me because Star Fox Assault did a lot of things right that was in the right direction, which I felt like Star Fox should have kept going in instead of trying to go back to Star Fox, basically Super Nintendo Star Fox in '64. It had a lot of cool elements. They just weren't strong in what they did. Like the controls, especially for the foot missions and stuff, were not great, and so they came to the wrong conclusion that the foot missions nobody wants those. No, those actually were a really good idea.
Good version.
Being able to like run around and then jump in a fucking what do you call it? The tank? What is it called?
Land Cruiser, Landmaster.
Land Cruiser, and then jump into a fucking R-wing. That's fucking fantastic. That's what I would want for Star Fox. But it was so jank the way that worked. But it was a great idea. That should have worked, and they should have kept with the storyline stuff. That was another thing I loved about Assault is that it got continued to be epic in its storytelling. And Miyamoto don't even like stories, man. He do not like too much stories in his games. But
no, he doesn't.
That's why I took it out of Galaxy. That's why Galaxy 2 didn't have a story.
Right. This is the type of game that needs it, though. Some games, that's a good part of them. That's
area. I don't think I ever did this.
Yeah,
no?
Fuck it. The Zelda area
This is what, for me, Sonic should have become. Like, the Zelda DLC was like
I thought you
absolutely perfect.
They added
it was great.
Because they added two different.
No, I honestly, maybe I'm just forgetting, but I think I might have just ran around the outside area and didn't know this was here. Like
they tried. Really? I gave them credit because they very much try to add Zelda elements to it.
Maybe I just don't remember. It's been
Did
so
you lose
long.
a light? It looked like you in the dark.
I turned it down a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's because my screen's darker.
Oh.
See, as the screen gets bright.
Okay.
That's why Lost World is so weird to me, because I don't like the main game because I felt like Sonic needs to keep moving and be fast. And my problem with the cylinder aspect was that you stopped more than you ever did in any Sonic game, I feel. But that Zelda DLC, the open world thing with Sonic just walking freely, going fast, that's what they should have gone with. They should have built all that shit.
Why'd this go black and white?
Oh, this is Knights. This is the Knight stuff. It's a Knights reference.
Sonic slowed down in Sonic Adventure, right?
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, but
he did that a lot in Sonic Adventure. So I was cool. I'm cool with that. Build off Sonic Adventure, build off Sonic Lost World. That's where I'm concerned. Just get your fucking, take however long you need to take to get the fucking controls perfect. Get them bitches really good. Because that is usually the main problem with these games. Is that the controls, there's some control jank, and there's some hit detection jank.
It wouldn't, and I guess my concern is, it's like if you couldn't even fucking you couldn't even do a colors port properly.
Well, it wasn't them. It was fucking, who was that company?
Really?
The same company that messed up WWE and shit.
See, that company was already. I blame Sega for that because Sega. What the fuck is Rob
Roberts doing?
What is hell,
dude? I was just gonna end the podcast. I was gonna end early.
Nope. Nope. You can't now. The gang's all here. Well,
Robert, did you sleep? How was your nap?
Well, no, because I was saying I was gonna go.
Did you already have that game or?
No, remember I since
you
recommended
it, mushroom.
I wrote down on the wish list ever since I saw your collection video, man.
Yeah, well, that mushroom, man. That's what's up. You play it yet?
No, that's a backlog title. It'll be 1 year.
He'll be dead, but he'll play it someday.
He'll be dead. He'll be dead. But
I'll have dementia, and he'll be like, "Link to the Past, back at the backlog, episode 500."
Come on, Gyps.
Hey man, but that's skit's gonna be.
What did you call me? I can't hear. What did you say?
Since we're doing random shit, I'm gonna do a live unboxing. I don't know if I'll be able to get this open with my bare hands.
You were planning on ending it? I was like, oh shit, I gotta see if I can get it real quick.
I was thinking that we can end early.
Early.
I felt it, so I jumped in here.
I was expecting till 9 p.m. Oh wait, you just jumped in here, T?
Yeah, he just got here.
That's funny.
I do want to, before I forget, you were talking about companies learning the wrong lessons.
Yeah.
Oh, T was. Anyway, let's see what this is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Got it. Zack
Yeah.
Snyder's Justice League, baby. Physical.
I didn't know that shit was even out yet, bro.
Came out today. I pre-ordered. I didn't
gotta
know I'd
get
ever
that.
own.
I gotta
Like,
cop
not only didn't think I'd ever watch this, but I didn't think I'd ever own a fucking physical version of it. But anyway,
How much was it?
it was like $30 for the 4K. I think the Blu-ray, standard Blu-ray, was like 25
That's good.
Oh yeah, I'm getting 4K.
for the.
Yeah, man, you gotta get that.
So anyway, I was talking about companies learning the wrong lessons, and this is video game related and movie related. So they posted some stills of the Resident Evil movie, and people were arguing about the casting, but so
Live action?
yeah, the new live action. I think it's supposed to come out this year. I don't know if they pushed it,
Apparently, yeah. Apparently,
but
this
because
year-
this year?
because
Better
the
not do that shit.
Paul W.S. Anderson movies were shit, and everyone's
Trash.
like, well, look at they put all these characters in their perfect costumes like from the video game, and they just look like cosplayers, and so that's terrible. Why would you want that again? Just because these terrible movies with terrible acting, terrible writing used like a Jill that looked like Jill doesn't mean you can't have this new Jill still look like Jill and be a better written movie with a better actress, which I don't think she's a great actress.
Why are you blaming one
But they're
thing?
definitely it's a better lineup. Like it's definitely
It's
a
better,
lineup.
but it's not like Robbie Amell's an amazing actor. I like him, but he's not like
Who?
a great actor. Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell's brother. He was in
I don't know who that is. What has he done?
the Flash show for a couple seasons. What
He
else
was?
was he in? He's been in a few shows, and he's not bad, but I don't like the main girl, the one from Killjoys, and she was in Ready Player One. She was like the hit woman, like sent after.
Oh, yeah.
She's not a great actress. She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but anyway. So the lesson.
I hardly remember. But
So people are like,
I
well,
thought about it, yeah.
well, look what happened when they made people look like they're supposed to from the game, and you got this terrible movie. So why
that
can't
is the dumbest.
why can't Jill be wearing something blue or why can't you modify and make a realistic version of Jill's outfit? Why does I think
They
it's
did it with
Leon
Cowboy Bebop. People don't like that.
Cowboy
People don't like
Bebop?
that.
I'm not a huge fan of that either.
That's a bit of a compromise because they're still using color elements, to change it. Even though cosplayers have showed you can have a very accurate Fae outfit that's actually people can move around in, and it's not super revealing. It doesn't have to be super
That's what made me
skimpy.
mad. The fucking actress wanted to run her mouth talking about,
I know.
well, they couldn't run around in this outfit look like you just fall off her, and I'm just like,
I'll
"Bitch,
judge it after I see her actual
Well,
character.
don't go out for that part because that's
Also, she's
You know,
also
like-
what made it worse is that people looked up the pictures and found out she's worn outfits as revealing as Faye's like base
Yeah.
outfits. I'm like, bitch,
I hate
what?
that shit. I hate
Just
that.
shut up.
man.
Just if you be quiet, people won't. Get
She
on
might
your
be
ass
great
much
though.
about
She
it.
might be really good, and you
Yeah,
might
I'm not
care.
talking about with that. I'm just
But anyway,
I just wish you wouldn't run her mouth.
fucking
That's
that
my issue.
bullshit. Just
I was
shut
talking
up.
about it's like, oh, they're
don't-
gonna do a true Resident Evil movie based on the first two games, and it's actually gonna take place in a mansion in Raccoon City and be an faithful adaptation. And then like, oh, well, we gotta make everybody look different because we don't want it to, we need to make it our own. No, Leon should be wearing a vest, Star's vest, like,
Yeah.
or not Stars,
Have that
Raccoon
90s
City,
haircut,
like.
90s Bob.
All I care about is Jill sandwich. If I can't get Jill sandwich, then I'm offended. You've ruined the.
So it's like you don't have to be different just to be different. Like that's the problem of the original movie. They made a different story. Like they should have just made the movie based on the game. Like they wanted to do something different. That's the biggest mistake, and I feel like they're learning the wrong lessons from these video game adaptations being bad and not doing well. So
Paul W.S. Anderson sucks.
yeah, like,
All right, like I mean
what he made one good movie, and I forget which one it was. Like an action movie. It wasn't
Can't think of
great,
one
but it was
movie.
like it was a pretty well received action movie, I think, back in the day, like one of his first movies.
the only movie. What you talking about? Mortal Kombat?
No, it was before
Oh.
Mortal Kombat, but
The
That's-
only like movie that I consider, I don't even know if I consider it good. It may be just nostalgia. Is
We did Event Horizon.
it just worked for me at the
Event
time.
Horizon, I think.
Event
was it.
Horizon. That's the only one.
Yeah, that's.
Is that what you're talking about? Event
Mhm.
Horizon.
That just scared the fucking shit out of me as a kid, man. Like, holy
Right.
fuck.
God, he made
Like-
Pompeii too. God, he's got.
Pompeii is trash. I thought Roland Emmerich made that.
Death
shit. That
Race
shit
wasn't
garbage.
terrible with Jason Statham, but
What
They
was
made
it?
three of they made four.
I don't know if he actually directed it or not. He might have just been a producer.
Probably just produced.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't.
He might have. I think he directed the first one. With
The first what?
Death Race with.
Oh, he probably
Yeah.
did. It was trash. It wasn't like it was a good
I didn't
movie.
hate the first one, but anyway,
Yeah,
we're getting off
directed
topic.
the first
But
one.
yeah, Event Horizon seems to be his best movie.
Yeah, I like, and he didn't get to do what he wanted to do. They kind of cut his knees out a little bit on that one. The
Interesting.
studio did, so maybe it would have even been better. But I liked it. I don't know if it holds up. I haven't seen it in probably
I
10
haven't watched
years.
it in forever.
It's good. It's good.
Man, I'm all.
But I remember liking it. I used to watch it all the time. It used to come on cable a lot back then. I used to watch it all the time because it didn't do well. It kind of bombed, but it did really well in video, and it became like a cult following behind it. So,
Welcome to the movie podcast.
but yeah, that's the same. That's the truth. The movies are the same. People get the wrong like.
No, he did not
I was
direct
watching Suicide
Blade.
Squad, right? And I'm like, this movie is good, but nobody gives a shit because the first one sucked ass, right? Like, I think that's the main problem with the Suicide Squad. People have a bad taste of the first movie.
I think if that was the first one, I'd been all right. That's pretty good, but I still didn't.
I think you would have liked it a lot more. I watched it again and I liked it a lot more the second time.
I watched some of it again, but Trizzy asked if Paul W. Anderson directed Blade. Fuck no.
No,
Hell no.
Stephen Norrington directed
Yeah.
Blade, and then the Blade 2 was Guillermo del Toro,
yeah.
and Blade 3 was the
David S.
terrible-
Goyer.
terrible decision Goyer, and that just killed that franchise. So.
That was trash. That was like
Yeah.
that's one of the worst movies. Retro probably loves it then. Blade Trinity.
Oh,
Blade Trinity, is that your
God.
he
favorite
loves
Blade?
Blade
Nah.
Trinity. Oh yeah.
The original Blade, I think, is fucking odd, but I didn't even like the second one.
I didn't
And 3
love-
was just horrible.
Okay. I'm just checking. It seemed like a movie you might love.
This one.
Wow.
Well, especially because you
Yeah,
have
boy.
Jessica Biel's
Alien Resurrection.
Oh,
man.
nice.
I don't know.
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is what partially, and actually, you know what? I think Doom, not the game, the movie, stole a lot of shit from Event Horizon.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that felt that way? Or you
You
feel
know,
that way?
definitely.
Okay, it's still a lot
definitely.
of
Who was the main guy that survived to the end that you thought it was going to be The Rock, but it was somebody else? Who?
Paul Urban.
Oh yeah, it was Carl Urban.
That was Carl Urban. Yep.
So
And-
Carl
yeah.
Urban is Doom guy,
Yeah.
not The Rock. Oh no, what the fuck? What is this?
The movie has some flaws, but it's definitely among the better video game movies.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I like it. It's
But
good.
that was a major problem. You can't turn The Rock into a villain out of nowhere. Like that was just weird.
Oh, I forgot this was a 2-disc movie.
You make The Rock the Doom guy. I mean, that's just what you do. So, I like Carl Urban and everything. He's a pretty good actor.
I
He's
do
great in
like
the
him.
voice.
Yeah.
He's great.
So I don't think I
Judge
can.
Dredd too, or Dredd. Excuse
Dredd's
me. Dredd
good.
was awesome.
I
Still
can't.
salty. They're still fucking banking on that like sequel, man. Like, just fucking release it already. Just make it.
Can't remember the last time I bought a movie that was on 2 discs
Huh?
since The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you do.
Had to cop that.
Oh, that's
I was gonna ask you, T.
was that
T,
an
you bought
official
no more
release?
Yeah. This is the Kickstarter.
Backers.
I think backers. Yeah, backers got. Oh,
Yeah. I was gonna ask T. You bought me No More Heroes 3 from when I
Yeah.
saw, right? Did you
Yeah.
start it or no?
I haven't started it yet.
Okay, I was gonna ask that.
Dude, I barely made it to this podcast. Right now, my brain is all jacked up. I'm in
And
the
besides,
middle.
you know, he's
I'm 3 weeks away from completely uprooting and moving, so it's crazy right now.
Yeah, I figured.
You gotta remember, he's also got to start Rabbits Go Home first, man.
I got
Oh,
rabbits
yeah.
home to get.
Oh my god.
you know. So got a lot of stuff to do here. You know.
Yes.
Haven't had an Immortals
Kaze,
update.
Kaze, don't forget Kaze. Robert put me on the Kaze. I think.
Yeah,
in
that game.
Was I right about that? The Google.
Yeah, because I remember
Google Hangouts, you
sending. I
shared it?
remember sending it to the trailer and stuff to you guys.
Yeah.
What
I
the
was
fuck does that say?
The Lapines Cretins.
Yeah.
Lapines Cretins.
Why do you all? What?
It's wonderful. That is wonderful.
So sad.
Hey man, Terrell, one day join us.
No.
You will play Rabbids Go Home
Or
one
just
day.
bitch
And be
tonight,
like,
cuz.
this is the best Sonic game.
How dare you? How
The best
dare
Sonic
you?
T,
game.
you get any further in Immortals, or is that?
Yes, I am. I want to stream that bit. I'm having fun with that game.
Did you do Aphrodite's stuff yet?
I love how. Have I what?
She's
Aphrodite's
the one
what?
that's the tree. Did you like
No.
do her quests?
No, not yet. I
That
love
was-
the progression in the game. I just like it. It's my kind of game. What can I say? I like it. I like the way it flows. I like the way.
enjoys it.
I'm gonna start it this week.
Are you?
I mean, I'm on chapter 7 of this, so there's 7 chapters in this game. So.
Oh, Hyrule Warriors.
So you're not
Yeah,
doing
for-
any of the? Are you doing any of the extra stuff and grinding to get your levels up?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I've been getting my levels up to get it to to balance it.
Are you
So I
seeing
didn't
any
do some of the
technical
side-
issues?
Oh yeah, I mean.
he was
Have
so
you-
he was so casual about it.
Well,
Man, come on. You
after-
already know.
After you
yeah,
beat the
no
game,
doubt.
after you see the credits, there's like a whole nother little thing to do that it's story driven that you might want
Really?
to
It's
do.
story-driven?
And it takes a lot of grinding. Like I'm gonna
Gotta
guess
grind.
20 hours, probably 15 at least.
Did it actually? I completed that.
But
That's
it's-
not gonna happen if it's hours of grinding. I don't know.
Well,
about that.
because you gotta get these pieces to put something back together, and
Really.
Robert's like, I ain't
you
got
might
time
want
for that.
to, but maybe you won't.
Grinding,
I
I
don't
don't
got time
know.
for that
I don't know about grinding, man. That's it's fun doing the missions and there's.
But I mean,
there's
it's not like you're regrinding the same levels over and over. You got to play new levels, but it takes
it's new levels.
it takes
Yeah,
a
they
lot.
did.
Robert
levels
want to
to it.
grind in fucking.
Because some of them you got to get leveled up for.
Grinding and shit.
I guess to me,
And
it's
basically,
just,
if you like the gameplay, it just gives you something to keep playing the game. That's how I saw it.
okay.
But there was
Yeah,
a.
I mean, I like it. I do really like it. I don't think it's gonna make my top 10 by any means. Admittedly, for me.
What do you feel about the cutscenes?
I'm just being honest, man. I'm just being honest. Well, the cutscenes are awesome. That's some of the best parts where just seeing these interactions between these characters that genuinely we get to see because obviously in Breath of the Wild it wasn't nearly like that.
How'd you feel about the?
Pura? Oh.
How'd you
That's-
feel
that's my
about
wife,
the? I like
Actually,
Impa. I'm more Impa. But how'd you feel about the twist
Did
where
you get there yet?
he's on chapter 7 out of 7?
I'm on the last chapter. I'm on the last 2 final missions.
How'd you
Yeah.
feel about the twist there when you thought champion was when you thought it was gonna be the moment the champions were gonna die?
Did I get that? Or
You had if you're not there.
Oh!
Hey, well, explain like what it is because
Because he keeps saying chapter 6, but aren't there 12 chapters?
no, there's 7 chapters.
Are
I'm
you
chapter
on?
7.
You're in
I'm on chapter
Hyrule
7.
Castle
I'm on the final 2. I'm on the final 2 missions.
and Hyrule
I looked it
Castle.
up to see what
That means so you're in Hyrule Castle.
Yeah.
So when
are you talking about like
when the divine beasts, top of the divine beasts,
are taking on the
champions,
take on the champions, and then Link comes and rescues
not
them?
Link,
No,
Link.
not
It's
just
some-
Link.
I don't think I saw that shit. I don't know
Dude.
if
Wait a minute.
There's no way.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Well, okay, just tell me.
Little
what exactly-
time
'cause
travel. Somebody.
Go watch a
No,
cutscene on
You
YouTube.
shouldn't
Are you
say it. I
talking
don't
about
think he's there.
Sidon comes? And
Yeah, where he
helps
comes
Link?
and saves.
You know about that?
Where he comes
You
and
know about that?
saves.
Yeah.
Oh, like all
Mifa.
the
Dude, epic
companions.
as
Yeah,
shit.
I get what you're saying. All the companions. Yeah, okay,
You know,
okay.
that little thing that happens.
The
You know what I'm
champions.
saying? Like he downplayed it like a motherfucker.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think that was such a big, huge. It was cool
Come
seeing
on,
Sidon.
yo.
It was cool seeing Sidon. Well, because in the end of the day,
That's
like
why
I
it's
don't,
not
I don't
on your
think they
top
made it a
10.
big thing. I don't think they made it a big thing, to be honest.
He
Like,
saved
like,
Mifa from
they-
dying.
Of course they made it a big thing. They set you up to think it was gonna go because if you played Breath of the Wild,
You know they're dead.
you thought you know where the story was going.
No, but
And then-
if I'm being honest, I knew they weren't gonna die because I remember kept hearing people talk about how it's like a different take. It's
Okay,
a different
so-
like it's like time travel.
You didn't get
It is
any
time
feels
travel.
when he came and
But you
saved
didn't- that doesn't-
Mifa.
that
No,
doesn't mean
Sidon,
anything.
yeah, Sidon especially. Everyone else I didn't care about. I mean,
Sidon
Sidon?
did the fucking smile. And he
Sidon,
was
yeah,
like,
dude, come on,
I
no,
had
like
to
when he comes and,
I
and
about
he's
got
like, he's
choked
like,
up.
no, when he
That's- I
comes
mean,
and,
yeah,
and he
that's
talks
tough,
to his
man.
sister. No, I agree that's Sidon and especially was great when he talks to Mifa and talks to, like that was cool.
What's
that legit was really good.
Urbosa's
Robert, it's
what's her
heartless.
name?
It's heartless.
Riju.
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 Yeah.
I hated
Riju.
her. I hate her attacks. I hate
Riju, and
playing
then
as
you
her.
have the other dude. What's the kid
T-Bon.
Goron?
Oh, I don't like him either. Yoba. What is his
It
name?
was
Yoban.
it was,
He's terrible.
but that's
man.
why like
I like
That's
Teba.
was-
I like T.
I
I don't
What-
like
what-
T-Bon.
What's the
Tebon.
name?
Really?
I don't
But
like
then
his
something came out of
attacks.
nowhere. Didn't
He
even
saved
cut
my
it.
life one time. I was about to be dead, and I just switched to him, and I did some
Oh, yeah.
bullshit and got out of that.
But hold on a second.
Luckily, I thought I was gone. I had to start that whole mission over. I would have been pissed.
Maybe I overlooked it, but didn't it like they're going through, they're fighting, and all of a sudden Sidon and then just kind of appear out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And
Came
then
through
just
like a
kinda-
portal.
I don't
Yeah,
know
there's a
about
portal.
y'all.
Did we see a portal? I don't think we saw it. Like they just kind of showed up.
This is why it's not on your top 10 list. Your bitch ass barely understood what was going on.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
it is-
What's going on?
What's his name?
But
The
did you-
dude that showed up, the new villain.
Yeah, what about him? But
Like-
we didn't
But
like
I
they
don't get into
Oh,
it.
wow.
They're in the middle of the
That-
sky. They're in the middle of the sky, and
Wow.
Sidon comes out of nowhere. Bro, I'm gonna help you. Like
That fight though, that fight. I don't know about y'all, but I fucking broke the game to win that fight because
Which
I
one?
did some shit where I had him trapped basically, and he couldn't really hit me. That was the only way I got through him because I could not fucking beat him. I probably died like 4 or 5 times on him. And
Yeah, no, there's
I had
some.
to do some trickery shit basically, where he was like kind of stuck in the wall and couldn't really hit
Yeah.
me.
Well,
And I
there's-
ran back and forth and beat him that way. I was like, this is.
Well, how do you
this is
feel
great.
about the combat? Are you
No, the
enjoying it?
combat's fun. That's why I've pretty much made Link pretty damn overpowered. I've been upgrading his damn Master Sword for everything. I just upgraded it every single time, and I use like all my rupees for that. But like the whole thing is that to me at least, I like the combat. One of the missions was kind of a pain where they it was one of the few missions ago where they first of all I
he
think
comes
I'm
out of a
done with
portal.
the Divine Beast.
He just
Let me see.
he just shoots.
Obviously,
First, his
obviously,
spear comes out first, and then it looks like a portal to me
Let me see.
right there.
Yeah. All right. He comes out of a portal then. It was a second, man.
Yeah,
How
I
you
gotta
know?
remember-
You just played this.
different.
Look at
Good
this.
God.
No, this is great. Like,
Shit, I need
again,
my
I
surprise,
said
son.
this is the best part. This is the best part out of all of them. I
Like
love
how you
me
said
down.
that. You
the
said that, but
Sidon
you
one
almost
is
completely
it's
forgot about
easy.
it.
The Sidon one is easy, the best one because he's such a charming ass character, man. I like that guy. But like
Mifa was my main
He
too.
left field at your ass. Like you thought he was, because we all talked about that.
no, I didn't think
Oh,
it.
man, that
Well,
moment
but the
when-
problem is, I think it's because I was probably essentially spoiled. That's
You
probably
should
why.
have played it
Well, that
when it
sucks.
came out. Then
It
Yeah,
did
should've
come-
waited 10 years after.
come out, man. It's been out only since for like what 8 months. That's come on. And the end of the day, though, like because all you hear is like, oh, it's not exactly what you think. You once you hear time travel, to me, this whole thing doesn't mean anything in my mind, personally. Like,
Well, it did-
I still, when it came to that conclusion,
it
hearing
still
that, I was
deflated the.
I don't know. I didn't
The
think
idea
he was
this
gonna
was-
die. I'm sorry. Nintendo's not gonna show them die. I didn't even think they were gonna do that. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't even think not for 1 second did I think they were gonna show them literally die right in front
I
of me.
did.
I didn't
Yeah, I
think so.
would've- I
Even
would've
even
seen
the
that.
king, even
They
the
showed
king, you
Link
think he's
die
gonna
in the
die.
fucking
You
game.
think, well, you think the
Bad,
king was, but with the king when he died, I was like, oh shit, that hit me. I don't know about you guys.
Right.
When and then Zelda's running and
Mm-hmm.
Link has her, like I was like, that was intense. And then he comes back
Oh,
later on, and I'm like,
I still say-
okay, this
I
is
still
a
say
Marvel
Age-
situation.
I still say Age of Calamity has like the coolest version of Link. This man is throwing hands towards the
Oh,
end
he
of
was
the game.
badass in that shit.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
he was
why-
super badass.
That made me envious. It's like, why can't
He
I
was
have this
taking
Link in
on-
the fucking game?
He was taking on like 4 of the divine beasts or some shit. I forget what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, and he turned around and
Four
goes,
blind. That's the greatest
looks-
fucking scene ever.
he looks at
So
Zelda like,
good.
go.
And then
I'm like,
Zelda's like,
oh, let's get it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. That was
You know
dope.
why I like
like
that Link though? Because that's what I keep saying. This is the first Legend of Zelda game where it's the Legend of Zelda. The whole game's about Zelda, and Link is just doing what he's supposed to fucking do. Be her knight, and he's chivalrous and like honorable. He's not ditzy or weird. Or he doesn't know what to do. He's a knight, and he's fucking good at it, and that makes him just so
He's really
cool.
good at it.
So here's
Yeah.
a question,
Well,
completely off topic, kind of, because we're talking about the cutscenes in Age of Calamity, and you add in the ones from Breath of the Wild. Would anybody want to see like a animated movie, like
Yes.
basically covers? Forget the Age of Calamity time travel stuff. Just those scenes we're talking about, like the divine beasts, the champions getting defeated, and
I would
and
like
all
to see
those
it, yeah.
moments from those memories, like cut into a, and it might not be a movie. It could be a mini series or something. It just seems perfect for that. And I mean, because it doesn't have a ton of the original Breath of the Wild has those flashbacks. But if you add
hear
up the
about most
cutscenes,
everything that happens.
I don't think
You
that
don't
if you
actually
added
see
up all those cutscenes, you're gonna have a half hour or
No.
and I
Which
think
one for Age of Calamity? Oh,
just
no,
in
for-
Breath of
for
the Wild,
Breath of
not
the
just like
Yeah,
such
no.
a tragic story that. Oh man, I just
That's
think
what I thought Age of Calamity was going to be.
I
you know?
do
that's
too.
what we
To
thought
see
Age of
Luke
Calamity
on.
was going to be. We thought it was going to be a
And don't get
true.
me wrong, I'm still glad where
prequel.
it's heading because to be fair, like I don't know how the literal end is, but it sounds like that timeline is gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's just
that they're on.
it's like I compare it to the Star Trek 2009, where the original Breath of the Wild still exists, but this is an alternate timeline.
It's an alternate timeline where it's
Well, it's
good.
like
That's
like
fine. That's
Ocarina of
cool.
Time in ways where it's just
Yeah.
like there's two different, because there's one version of Ocarina of Time where Link fails, right?
Yeah.
Um,
and then one where
mhm.
if you look
where
at
he
the
wins or
timeline,
whatever.
if you go by that, so
Yeah, technically
me,
the
it's
main
just like
Breath
that.
of the Wild is the failed timeline. Technically,
right.
Yeah, and that's why like look, Age of Calamity is a lot of fun and like, but there was one mission I was saying earlier that kind of was a pain in the ass where, you fight all the four divine beasts and all this type of stuff, and then all of a sudden they throw them in as just normal enemies, and then then they're like, oh, and then here's another guardian, so I'm trying to take out the divine beast, and then there's
I
just
know
a
which
guardian on
mission,
my side. I'm
yeah.
like,
A
dude,
divine
what the
beast?
fuck?
You mean a
You back up,
blight?
guardian?
You mean
I'm trying to
blight?
survive.
yeah.
You're talking about
He's
blight,
on the blights.
not
The
divine
blight,
beast.
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the blight
I
gas.
got
Yeah.
tired of those fucking blight.
That's
I
the
will say that.
sequence. That's the sequence where they throw them all in different sections.
Yeah, the
of
blight
map.
cannons,
Yeah,
and they
that's
throw
what
in
I-
different things, and then there's also guardians, and there's also fucking Lionels. They got a bunch of shit going on, and like, get you back up! I'm trying to defeat
know
the
what?
guy.
It,
It's a
it
pain.
would, to me, it's fairer than fucking Hyrule Warriors, the first one, because they used to hit you with all that shit, and then you had to worry about
And the-
defending people and
yeah,
shit all at
how-
the same
yeah.
time, and so something's gonna give usually.
Well, also
least
that's why
Age
you
of
It
know,
was like
Calamity didn't.
it's like
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like T said. It was the only real level where you had to strategize. You had to understand the battlefield, use the correct characters, and do all that shit. And it's definitely
Yeah.
the hardest level in the game without a doubt.
Yeah.
But considering that's where you get that ridiculous scene with Link and Zelda, and the second half, you become like the whole different Zelda and
Yeah,
shit.
it's true.
Like
Yeah, it was good, though.
there's a reason why it's so fucked up, and I feel it works.
no, it works because it was tough. I didn't die, admitted. I didn't die,
But
but,
you know
but it
who
was
the
tough.
final boss is.
I would assume.
He doesn't
I
know yet
You can
because
say it
he's
if you
in
know.
his final
I'm
two
not-
missions.
I would assume it's the whatever this new villain dude is. I would think.
All right.
Are you talking about the mage, the dark?
I
Yeah,
mage?
whatever
I
his.
won't
I
spoil
do
it.
like the scenes where
You like the Yiga
Yeah.
guy? What's his
yeah
name?
the Yiga guys they start teaming up and stuff.
I don't. I
like
hate
all that.
playing as what's the main one's name? The goofy one.
What's his name? Yeah, I don't.
Oh yeah, he's a little too goofy. For me.
Yeah, I don't like his moveset at all.
It's like,
Oh no, yeah,
Cause
it's super
I
random.
So-
remember being like facing against the Yiga clan, and then, like these motherfuckers are hard. Like the big dudes and shit.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Trying
he's
to sneak around them. I remember that being like really intimidating for me in the beginning. And it's just like, okay, so I get through all that, and I gotta fight this clown ass dude. Like that just was kind of a little bit underwhelming
Well,
after going through what I just went through. I wanted to fight a serious fucking boss after that
Yeah.
shit.
I think that's why they added that other dude in there, so that you still kind of had
Right.
that big serious dude.
So who's
Yeah.
your
Well,
top
yeah, I
three
mean-
characters, Robert, to play as?
it's definitely Link. I play as him the most. I gotta play as my boy Link. I'm being honest. Yeah, I like the Master Sword and upgrading that shit like crazy. But then it's Impa, and then it'd probably be. That's tough. I was
Master Koga.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, go.
because from there it's really I start to kind of juggle a few characters. But I mean, once I got that Zelda ability, it was pretty cool. I started using her a lot, which was then I guess technically not that long, right? Because it's only a few missions. Because once you get that new
It's still
ability,
a little tricky
really
though.
good.
For certain enemies, she's not that
Certain-
good.
Yeah.
So
But
I-
like that's why for me I mainly stuck with like Link and Impa. I've been kind of rotating.
Mifa was definitely easily my
I
top.
use Mifa a lot.
She's
Miko was
Miko
the
and,
number one
um,
for sure.
Well, Sidon is
Uh,
also fun to play as. just
Sidon
'cause-
is in my top 3
Or
also.
I like
Bosa.
Sidon
Impa too.
just
I use
because.
Impa a lot.
Yeah,
I think
I
he-
actually used Link, but the two-handed version where he also eats the meat and stuff,
Hmm.
because that gave him like a third combo set to use, and it just made him look really cool.
well, that's why Then I was also I like I wish they had a Pura and a Robbie as a
I
character.
think they tease them possibly for the
I
DLC.
think they're gonna be in a DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, DLC.
Yeah, but I don't know. What's
Why?
I like I would look at it. What is the point of the DLC at that point? It's characters. It's some challenges.
Yeah, that's
And
basically because
money.
it's shitty DLC.
And you get the new weapon for Zelda.
I
Zelda
know what it
gets,
is though.
A single
Zelda-
new weapon.
yeah,
Is it
Zelda
better
gets
than
the
the first?
Ooh.
Zelda-
You're gonna be
Zelda-
playing
Zelda
basically
gets
the
the
same.
bike.
Yeah, the
That's-
motorcycle.
I guess to be fair, like you could say, well, then you have so many other missions that you still have to finish. You could play with these new characters. Like,
Yeah,
But
I got.
I know
the
Juice.
hell
I
out
know
of my
Juice
console.
doesn't like the original DLC of the original Hyrule Warriors, but like
Trash.
there you got like a character, extra
And the
modes,
adventure
a
map.
fucking adventure map. You got a whole lot of those adventure maps. Is like fucking 5 to 10 hours each of gameplay. This one, you get one shitty character, like who cares? 2 weapons for other characters, who cares? And like a
cares?
trial mission or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
but
the first
it's-
DLC back.
It's 5 to 10 hours of Ubisoft gameplay. You just gotta.
You're doing the-
similar
Those
grindy
adventure maps would just put you in the same same areas you've already seen. Oh, it
The
might have
remixes of everything.
different. Oh, you got a different objective or a different enemy to face in this area, but it's still the same scenery. It's like I wasn't. To me, it was a remix, but it's still so familiar. I stopped. I didn't even finish the first adventure map.
Oh, that's it. I'm
Well,
still
I'll-
I'm playing that shit.
I'll say like it may not make my top 10, but I enjoyed it enough to the point where I literally want to keep going. Like I literally I'm like, all right, well, I've been playing these long chunk hours. Since I took off, so I just been playing these long chunk hours where I'm like, I don't want to stop playing because it's a lot of fun.
Wait,
I
when you
had-
say
but the
top
thing is-
10, what do you mean?
My top 10 of the year of 2020.
Yeah, no, okay, no, that's fucked up. No, I can't. No, that's fucked up.
My man, I played like so many games, dude. There's no. The thing is, like, the odds are like.
It wouldn't have
Most
made my
games are
top
going to
5 if I had played Ghost of Tsushima last year.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing. In retro, the difference is you love the Muso games, like the Warrior games. Like you love that.
I
shit.
know.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
just
Like
fucking with you.
I know. Like for me, it's like I enjoy the combat. I like it, and especially the music is epic. I mean, I always talk about
man.
the music
So
is
good.
so epic. Well, especially that
I'm
one.
so glad
they were
it-
playing in the last mission I played. They actually played that track again that I was thinking.
I'm so glad they
It's so
did
bad.
what I was hoping and what I said I wanted with the music, to get rid of those cheap cover band rock versions and just have some good. Oh, you can't have an action game with Breath of the Wild music. And
I like
then they
that
did
shit.
it.
I like.
They added the orchestrated
DS
music.
taste.
Yeah, I don't. I
like-
I don't like the cheesy guitar riff.
Oh, come
for-
on.
I don't like it in the Mario Kart
Oh,
game.
come
Get all that hate out of your heart.
I just don't.
Yes.
No,
Good.
man. Open your mind.
It just reminds me of a band I don't like. Avenged Sevenfold has a very, I call it cheesy
They
guitar.
remind you of,
Oh
like,
shit, my
you're gonna say
I
it
think-
reminds you of like Sonic the Hedgehog rock or something.
No, but
Well,
anyway,
that's still some good songs though. Sonic the Hedgehog. Those are like.
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap this up, even though Robert just got
What?
here.
I just got here.
I got.
We're not going for another 2 hours.
No. It's getting warm in the room.
Where's T, man?
He's starting to sweat in there.
So yeah, it's been fun. Just to recap, I I got to the credits of Returnal, but it's one of those.
Nice.
It's like sounds like Hades was similar, where it's not the end of the game. You gotta to finish the story. You have to still keep playing, even though I beat the boss on the 6th biome.
Did
Was it
credits roll?
satisfying?
Credits rolled, but
right?
there's
Credits
new
rolled.
stuff to get the true ending.
Oh,
Was it
okay.
satisfactory or it wasn't satisfactory?
I gave it an A, almost an A plus.
Well, wow. Well, that's why like Hades is it's actually like multiple runs and then you get the credits. Like multiple runs you have to complete and you get the credits.
Yeah, you get a lame ending if you just beat it, and then it's technically the third act is after you get the credits, because then you have this new ability that lets you get areas that you couldn't access before. So now you can get all the missing things you don't like, the ciphers.
Metroidvania. even.
Very Metroid Prime like. Even though on my streams like, how is this like Metroid Prime? Then I listed like 5 things.
I could believe it's like Metroid. I've heard it's like Metroid.
You're on a desolate alien world by yourself, very a female on her own. She's a badass. Map similar, exploration similar. Get items that let you access new areas. You know, it's very similar.
Oh, like a very other title that I know of.
Reminds me of Jet Force Gemini in some ways.
But Retro started Kid Icarus Uprising. Then
For the first time?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Terrell
boy.
started-
Welcome.
Nice.
Terrell's playing.
I said it in the beginning, like I wasn't gonna get it, but Trizzy from the chat, he was talking about it all the time. He's like, dude, I want you to play it. I'm like, dude, I can't fucking buy this game right now. So he sent me the game, and I started playing it. And I said it to the guys too. I feel like all the hate that the controls have gotten, I don't understand it, because I feel it's the most intuitive controls I've ever seen in a game. Considering also how much you can you have like 3 different control schemes, like put it down, hold it, motion and shit. You can map all the buttons the way you want it and shit, you know. But the game itself is fucking beautiful.
Because none of them are perfect.
I'm sure it's beautiful. Dude, ever. More intuitive than Wii Sports.
Listen.
When I say intuitive, it's like you play the whole game with 3 buttons. You don't need more. You need 3 buttons. All 3 buttons control the whole game.
And some
You can
thumb
put
cramps.
all the
I need-
buttons where you want it and shit. Then you can play either like handheld or motion or without
Retroism.
motion. That's intuitive.
The retroism. I love that.
That's
And
what it
listen,
is.
I
I'm
love
looking forward to playing that
Kid
game.
Icarus. I love Kid Icarus Uprising. But god damn it, they could not find a good button layout. They couldn't.
Good control
You
scheme.
lay out yourself.
It needs dual sticks. It really
You
does.
move and you shoot, and you can choose all the buttons to do these 2 things. How is that not
listen, bro.
intuitive?
When a
Wii
game,
U port,
when a
man.
game ships with a fucking stand, there's gonna be issues.
You
with
know
the
there's a
controls.
problem.
There's a
Yeah.
problem.
Have you?
I think
are you
Sakurai-
playing like that? Are you playing like that, Richard? Like playing it like on a stand, or are you just holding
With
it?
one hand, I have L to shoot, the stick to aim, and then the button. And I have the 3DS XL. That thing is happy as fuck.
I also heard it came with
Oh, no, that's what I played it with too.
a referral to a hand doctor for arthritis and carpal tunnel. So it came with
Yeah,
a referral card.
It is one. It's one of those
Clearly
games.
something
It's
afoot.
it's one of those games where I think Sakurai did the best he possibly could with that
He
button
could have
layout.
made a Wii U game.
He could have made a Wii U game. That's besides the point. The problem is he did
I mean,
the best
here's
he
the thing.
did.
Why didn't? Because they made this big fucking add-on that I bought that used in one goddamn game.
Circle Pad Pro.
They could have just updated.
the Pad Pro or whatever for the 3DS, and they didn't use it for that. Like, why not?
No, they didn't use it.
If you're gonna ship it with something, ship it with that fucking thing. That way I can have dual sticks.
You remember what he said? He said they didn't have any more RAM access to add that feature to that game, was utilizing the 3DS 100%. There wasn't any room left to add it.
Well, I do believe it because it's a
Support.
very
It's
good.
a pretty beefy ass games.
It's beefy.
I won't argue that one with it.
But
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
that,
good
like
looking
when
ass
you're
game.
flying over the levels and shit, like it's like
The
it's
flying
great
stages
3D,
are the
like,
easiest
that is
things
like
to do.
that is like outside of the 3DS and shit, you know, like the way it should work. Like you see like these long lakes with the mountains and shit, and graphically it just looks so fucking good.
Look, I think
It's
the
one of the
flying,
best 3DS games to this day.
I think the flying sections probably work the best with the controls
Oh, yeah.
that we got. It's the ground
foot shit.
combat that
Yeah.
we had to like because it's a
You gotta
full
relearn how to play games and shit.
yeah, it's like a full it's a full 3D combat area, and you're just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
You're talking to a guy who loved Phantom Hourglass and just recently said so on Twitter. So and that had stupid controls too.
Yo, I stand by. I've always said it in the podcast. Phantom Hourglass is a great fucking game.
I'm sure I'll
Game's
agree
great,
with you
but
there,
controls,
Retro Man.
man.
One day, like, how can a Zelda game be bad, man? It's gotta be.
It's not bad. The game is not bad. It's just
Okay.
forcing
You
to
gotta,
use
if you
the
want to
fucking-
swipe or swing your sword to the left, you have to swipe on the left side of the screen, right? And it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, you get
So
used to
you're
it.
right on
That's
the
when the
map
gimmicks
and
ruin
stuff.
the
Like
game.
it's so good.
I don't say ruin it, but that's when the gimmicks affect the gameplay.
Yeah.
What ruined it
Necessary.
was the same dungeon every time because they didn't have the 3D or the DS. They couldn't do some reason they decided to do that, and I never cared for that approach. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks for T and Robert for jumping in last 20 minutes or
Man,
so.
I don't know.
but
I blanked out, bro. Like I'm
I
like,
gotta I'm gonna have
like,
to
I'm supposed to be doing something, but I can't remember.
I'm gonna have to boot up the system and do a little audio test real
Yeah.
quick. And
I already figured that was gonna happen.
but
This is a great cover, though.
that is a
Robert,
good
yes.
cover.
It is a good cover.
So yeah, and well, we'll have to talk about that.
Heroes. Hold on.
Well,
Yes, I got No More Heroes, bro. Yeah, I got
Hey,
it.
actually,
Too.
I love that cover, by the way.
It's a great cover.
This is
This
a
is
cool
good.
cover.
Robert will
I
play
actually-
No More Heroes 3 in
Nice,
December
nice one, man.
2022.
Nice artwork.
I'm
Robert.
Great game.
gonna
happened?
say
Robert's looking forward to playing No More Heroes 3 in December 2022.
And you know what? When I play it, it's gonna be a
Have
lot
you
of fun.
played any No More Heroes games?
Nah,
yeah, you
not
need-
yet.
They're all on Switch. They're all on Switch, Robert.
They're on
You got-
Switch and they're all on my backlog.
You gotta play them in order. You gotta play them in order.
You do have to play them in order.
Hey man, it doesn't unlock. It doesn't lock itself if I don't. So I'm gonna end up
It
playing.
doesn't, but you might.
But,
wanna play
Are you
Anyway.
gonna play Switch versions?
I don't know, to be
I
honest
would.
about that. I really don't know.
That's not a bad
'Cause
option. It's not a
Not a
bad.
bad
I
option.
played the Switch
No.
versions. They're
They're
fine.
good. They're good. They play
Like
well.
you can use it like this.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, you can use Joy Cons or button.
Okay,
control.
all right.
Yeah, he has all the motion controls and stuff.
All right.
So yeah,
It
thanks
may
for
be-
thanks
yeah, I
everybody
guess
for
that makes
tuning in. And you know, we got off to a slow start just with the three of us, but conversation got rolling here at the end. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll see who shows up on time next week, and so join us to see.
Nobody-
I won't. I actually won't be there next week.
Okay,
I'll
Well,
for
you-
sure.
you-
I'll for
So
sure
just be me and
there
Terrell.
on time.
Yeah.
I'll for sure be
I'll
there
be
on
here.
time next week.
I'll be.
but
100%.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.